We're back.
We're back.
We are back. Predator versus movies is back. What's up, listeners? Welcome back. I'm Alex.
I'm Peter.
I'm Aidan.
And this is a podcast where we discuss and review the latest movie releases, and we're back. We'll start off with a non-spoiler review.
Guys, we're back.
We're going to start off with a non-spoiler review before diving into a deep discussion of the film. We're back, by the way. And then we're going to ask the most important question. Would this movie be better if the alien from Predator was in it? This week, guys, we're back. We're going to be reviewing...
We're back?
We're back.
We're back.
We're back, and we're reviewing Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
Before we get into it, we have some news, not very much. Just a little series on Netflix that is very near and dear to our hearts. I Think You Should Leave, by Tim Robinson, is coming back for a season 3 very shortly. I don't think I read what. Is it April?
I think it's May.
April? May, perhaps?
Maybe
Let me just
something.
check.
I'm excited, dude.
I'm so excited.
I actually like once a week I think about the tables sketch where it's like the driver's ed thing and the woman's job is tables. I love that so much.
Yeah, I love that show. It is in fact coming back May 30th, so cannot wait for that zany and chaotic series.
Directed by Elizabeth Banks.
Directed by Elizabeth Banks is chaotic. We have some trailers before we get into the film as well. Lots of trailers just from this week. We're not even. Okay. Thanks. We're not even pulling from before this week. So first off, we got a trailer for an R-rated, I think, sex comedy. Haven't seen one of those in a while. It's called No Hard Feelings, starring Jennifer Lawrence. What'd you guys think about it?
I think it looks kind of fun.
To be honest, dude, my first thought was just like, isn't Jennifer Lawrence a little old for this? Because she just had a kid, you know? Like, she's like...
What?
Kid, no. Wrong.
I think you're... I'm not with you there, Peter.
No, like it looks great, but keep in mind, she just had a kid, man.
So?
That's ageist and probably
ageist
as well. Yeah.
No. I'm just saying. Like, you'd imagine, because like she is playing. I thought she was playing like a 20-year-old in the film, right?
No.
She's playing someone.
She's supposed to be playing someone that's old.
Yeah, she's supposed to be like.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Oh my god, I'm gonna get canceled.
She's playing someone who's old. She's 32.
Yeah. Because like the guy she's supposed to date in the film is like 19.
But that's like
that's
point.
the joke.
Like
that's the
joke.
point.
The joke.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, it is very funny, and I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a very funny trailer, and I'm glad that like this kind of like comedy is coming back. I am actually very excited. I was like, oh, whatever, but I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, it looks good actually. There was also a trailer for an Apple movie called Ghosted. I've heard about this one for a while, starring my favorite Ana de Armas and Chris Evans.
With the worst ever poster.
Oh my god, that poster is... I wonder if it's like like they're purposely made it bad. You know?
Guys, hold on. We have to head into the poster park.
Poster park.
Vroom. So poster park. Yeah, Aidan had some thoughts on the poster for Ghosted.
Dude, it looks like it's like a poster for like a CTV show, like it's like Rookie Blue or something or whatever. Like it looks like it's the big event of like a shitty cable show. Like there's like 4 different fonts being used like on the titles.
That's the worst crime of all. But like even like if you took the text out, it still is not a very enticing poster.
Yeah,
it's kind of like it's the 2 characters in the foreground in a funny position. And then like nothing behind them. Like I think it's an explosion, but like it's very plain.
It does like nothing to the movie though. Like when I look at the poster, I'm like, oh, that won't be a spy comedy thriller type of movie. It's like it's probably like a what did Ana de Armas do? Dark Water. Like I was thinking like this will be a poster for Dark Water or something. like
That was the one
like
with Ben Affleck from
like a
last
drama,
year, I
you
wanna
know?
say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the trailer, going back to the trailer park,
Vroom.
thank you. Looks pretty good. I think it's also a comedy. It's an action comedy. Um, I'm I'm glad to see Chris Evans going back to like his dumb like himbo phase. Like he was very like serious for a long time because of Captain America, but before that he was like the dumb jock guy, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to see him back. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, I think he does it. I think he does it well. Yeah. I was also kind of surprised by the trailer. I think it looks enticing.
Is it supposed to be the Ana de Armas as John Wick film? This one?
No, she's doing. Isn't she
Another
the
one.
ballerina?
Oh, she's. Oh, right. There's one actually set in the John Wick verse, right?
Yeah.
That one. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought the trailer was fantastic. Like I texted the group chat after I saw it. I was like, the trailer looks very good, but the movie is probably very bad. But I'm definitely gonna watch it.
Yeah, I do feel that way too.
Yeah.
There's a good chance.
Like I think it's just because we're so used to Captain Chris Evans being Captain America, so like he's the one doing the saving, and this one, like you said, Alex, like he's back to his himbo life and being saved by Ana de Armas, which is fantastic. So
Yeah, it's funny. Like seeing Chris Evans in something like is actually kind of weird. Like
yeah, it's hard to
Yeah.
not to relate
him
back to
something that
Captain
isn't
America.
Captain America. I feel like that's the only role I've seen him in like 10
Absolutely.
years.
Yeah. Well, same with RDJ. Like I don't.
Yeah,
He hasn't had a good movie since Iron Man stuff, but
he was in Doolittle.
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He wasn't in any good movies. I mean, so seeing him in Oppenheimer will probably be strange for us.
Yeah,
That'll be,
exactly.
I don't know.
first.
Something about RDJ doesn't have the same effect. I feel like I've
No?
consistently seen he was in like The Father or whatever. He was in like The Judge, this Holy Spirit, whatever. I don't know.
What are you talking about?
I've not seen any of these.
Is that one movie title?
I was making
The
things
Father,
up at the
the
edge, but I think he was in a movie called The Judge. He was in like I don't know. He was in a few different movies that I didn't see, but I was aware of them. So I was like, yeah, okay. Like he's done other stuff here.
Sure. I mean, I'm excited to see the Father, the Judge, and the Holy Spirit. I don't know what that's.
You know, the Judge is real. The Father is real, but he's not in it. That's a different movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that like? I think that would be a really fun comedy. The Father, the Judge.
Senior. Senior is the other thing I'm thinking of.
Oh, Senior is a documentary.
I did
yeah.
actually watch that. Yeah. No, but like I know what he's meaning. But like, the Father, the Judge, and the Holy Spirit. So like a judge, God, and just some random dad are like going on a road trip. I don't know what they're doing, but I would watch that.
That'd be fun.
We got another trailer. There's just so many trailers. We got a trailer for Seth Rogen's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Spider-Verse Ninjas.
Basically, it's animated and it's not in a stupid style. It's in like a fun, cartoony style. Looks really good.
Yeah, it looks fun.
What did you guys?
Looks like a good fun time.
Yeah. Peter, what did you think about it?
I've not seen the trailer.
You're supposed to bullshit. Just riff. Pretend you've seen it.
Oh, dude, I think honestly, the trailer opened with a very powerful opening, and slowly builds up. Very excited. I think it looks great, man. What can I say? Seth Rogen, very funny guy. Trailer's pretty funny. So good movie. Good movie.
Good movie. Yeah, no, that was great. Yeah. I like how the kids are all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are all played by kids. I think that's a good.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
They really sound.
I know that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure you know that, Peter. We also got the final trailer for Mario. Or Mario?
Yeah.
When is that coming out?
Soon.
Oh, I have seen that trailer actually.
So this, I can't even think of what the trailer was. Oh, it's April. Oh, it's so soon. It's like first week of April.
Nice.
So this trailer had all I can think of is the little wisp guy being like, "Oh, the only thing is the sweet release of death," like that bit.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is in this trailer.
Well, there's a lot of like karting bit, right? Like there's the throwing of the turtle shell and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was more of like a plot one to be like, okay, this is what the story actually is, as opposed to like one of those teaser type trailers. I'm excited. I think it'll be a hit. I think it'll make a lot of money.
I think it'll be fun too, but like I saw some people on Twitter saying like, "Oh no, Chris Pratt's actually kind of doing well here," but I like can't like at no point there's such a separation between the Mario and the voice for me. Like it does not feel like he is talking when I watch it. It just I can just picture Chris Pratt in a booth.
Dude,
Yeah.
no, because
That's
like
all
I
I'm
feel like
thinking
there are natural ways to like pitch your voice a little higher, you know, to be in to like play a character like Mario, you know.
Yeah.
But I think Chris Pratt just like the way he does it is so unnatural.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound right. Like
Yeah, it doesn't sound right.
like I actually it's so like I hear the voice and I don't look at Mario because I'm looking for someone else to be talking because like it just doesn't look like it's
look at my Star-Lord, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, I found it. So
Uh-huh.
I was just gonna say, like, there's someone had just mentioned something about this, and it was
Yeah.
the director of the movie had said Chris Pratt is really good at playing a blue collar hero. So I think like that's why they wanted his voice because that's all he does. Star Lord,
Mm,
Emmett, like just like regular idiots trying to be a
maybe.
hero kind of thing. So I think they're really trying to channel Lego Movie energy. That's
Yeah.
what I'm getting at. Last trailer we have to talk about. This is for a series, not a movie. It's called I'm a Virgo. It's by the creator of I'm already forgetting.
Sorry
To bother you.
I think you should leave.
I think you should leave. Nope, not by Tim Robinson. It's by Sorry to Bother You creator. And it looks like it's like set in a superhero type world kind of thing, is or people with powers at least. So
Yeah.
it has a character. It's the guy from Moonlight. It's the Moonlight guy. Is a very big guy, and he's like 8-10 feet tall, maybe.
It's which guy from Moonlight?
He's the teenage version of the lover friend.
Oh really? Oh,
to
I didn't
lover.
recognize him.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that face is familiar, and I figured it out this morning. I think. Looks really good.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I really like the like absurdist, surrealist style of Boots Riley. I really like Sorry to Bother You. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, Peter, what did you think?
You know, trailer has a very powerful opening. You know, immediately drawn into what the trailer is supposed to be about, and then it builds. It builds.
Up over the,
Oh my god! It builds and it builds, and sudden release of emotion, big climax at the end. Oh my god! I can't wait, dude. I gotta say, Sorry to Bother You. Interesting movie. Actually, I've just saw it recently, and I'll talk about it during Predator's Picks.
Oh,
very interesting movie. You know, excited to see how he tackles this one.
Yeah. Okay, great. Now we have a movie to talk about that Peter has actually seen. It's a little movie, very very little tiny movie, called Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The longest title. It's directed by Peyton Reed, written by Jeff Loveness. It stars Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Jonathan Majors, Catherine Newton, Michelle Pfeiffer, Corey Stoll, Michael Douglas, and others. The DP was Bill Pope, who is a frequent collaborator with Sam Raimi, Edgar Wright, and he also did Shang-Chi.
And The Matrix.
And The Matrix, yep. It has a runtime of 2 hours and 4 minutes. The budget was around $200 million, and it currently has a box office. Peter's shaking his head. It has a box office of $425.8 million, which is not very much for a Marvel movie. So I keep saying before we get into the movie, like to preface every single thing we do. So like I say it like 5 times per episode. So before we get into the movie, we're gonna do our classic game, Predacritic. So there's a website on the internet called Metacritic, and it tabulates critics' reviews of a movie out of 100. So just critics, not general users, and it gives an average score out of 100. If it's 60 or above, it's green. If it's 80 or above, it's must see. If it's in the 50s, it's yellow, and if it's in the 40s or below, it's red. So we are going to guess where Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania lands.
Dude, this is so exciting because we haven't done a bad movie in so long.
True, yeah. So I'm gonna spin my wheel, which I had prepared. It's so exciting.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Wheel
and it looks like
time.
it's me. Okay, great. Not the best spot, but whatever.
Not the best spot.
Okay. So this movie sucked. So just a little spoilers there, but
take your time.
I have to decide like how
Dude,
low.
I mean, you can always do 0, you know? The movie is so bad.
I'm actually in the same dilemma where it's like, I feel like I haven't guessed one that's going to be like this low in a while, so I actually don't even know how to gauge it.
I'm going to take a risk here. I'm going to go with 45 because I think the riskier options are more fun anyways. So 45 is my guess. And I'm spinning again. And it looks like it's going to Aidan. Aidan, what do you think?
I don't know like what the low end of Metacritic looks like. You know what I mean? Like I have a good sense of what movies are when they're like 60 or above, kind of. But like, I actually have no idea. Like, I almost think it's gonna be lower than that, but I don't want to go lower than your guess. But I don't want to go that much lower. I'm gonna go. I have to think really quick about where I think Peter's gonna go.
Go 46.
He's playing the game. He's back.
You got 45, Alex?
Yeah.
44.
Give a real guess. Don't just play the game.
43.
43. Okay. Peter.
I think like the movie is passable. I'll give it a 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got some real guesses, sort of. Ant-Man. Okay, so what were our guesses again? I was 45.
I was 43.
And Peter was 50?
Yeah.
Okay, Peter wins. It's close. Peter and I were very close to a tie. It is a 48.
Oh my god, I barely beat you.
Once again, so Aidan, you lost. Sorry, I can see your disappointment.
Actually, this movie is not that hard to summarize because not that much happens.
Nothing happens. And you did see it recently. I should preface that Peter and I saw it. I think Peter saw it
a long time ago,
like a month ago.
Let me see.
Almost. I think just under.
Because it came out in February, didn't it?
Yeah.
I saw it February 18th. I saw it almost a month ago.
And then I saw it a week later, which is like 3 weeks ago. And then
I saw it Friday.
Like 2 days ago. Anyways, so it got a 48. So that means Peter was closest and I'm next. I was going to say, I was like, what was I talking about again? So it is a yellow 48 though, which just goes to show that I do not know what I'm talking about when it comes to the Metacritic scoring system.
I honestly don't pay attention when you explain it. I'm just like,
It must be 45. It must be 45 and below is red because I think this is the second time where I've had a yellow 40s and I was like, I don't know what it is anymore. Anyways, so Peter, as the winner, you get to deliver your non-spoiler reaction first.
Okay.
And before I forget, we are also going to give our very, very, very brief thoughts on how we feel about the previous Ant-Man.
Okay, sure.
As kind of like to ground the new one.
Dude, I was gonna be nice. I was gonna let Aidan go first, but
we changed up how we do this. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it, man. I didn't like the movie. I think compared to Thor, I think it's even worse than Thor, man. Like it's really bad. If we talk about, I'm just gonna start by talking about the previous Ant-Man, and I'll get to this one. So first one, I think it was great. I think they emphasize on the shrinking and like they make the whole shrinking, going back, controlling ants like a big deal in the first one. And then as they take on larger and larger threats, that part is sort of like less emphasized over time. But like I think one thing, I was watching clips on Twitter the other day, and people all agree like Ant-Man, the entire character is the coolest part is him shrinking, going back. But then like the way you emphasize is not to focus on the character itself, but its surroundings, to see the world in sort of this like an ant view almost, you know. So it's like everything's big now, and I thought like I completely agree with them. Like in the first movie, that was emphasized, so that was very cool, and the movie wasn't terrible. Like the movie was funny, the plot was okay, you know. And then second one, the movie wasn't great, but at least I thought it was really funny. Like Paul Rudd really get to do the funny guy thing in the second one a lot, like a lot of goofy scenes. The plot wasn't the greatest, obviously, but then this one, it's not as funny as the second, and nowhere as cool or enticing as the first, even though it's set in a quantum realm. So like I just thought like somehow like a lot of MCU like third entries are happen to be somewhat good. Like Iron Man 3 was okay. I think better than 2 at least, Iron Man 3 in my opinion.
For sure.
Yeah.
Captain America 3 probably not as good as Winter Soldier, but at least not bad. Thor Ragnarok, it's a unique take. I know you guys have divisive opinion on Ragnarok, but then this one just felt like a flop, man. Like the characters, just the plot at least has just been going downhill since the first one, and then this one had no redeeming characteristic, not even the comedy. So I rated it a 2 out of 5. It can go lower, to be honest, 1.5, 1, but it was not a good movie. Would not recommend. Don't give Marvel money on bad movies. Literally, go support an indie movie or something with this money. So
that's straight facts, man.
Oh yeah, and also just watch the post credits, man. Like that's probably like the only good part of the
movie. If you want to be caught up on the most expensive television show ever made, which is the MCU, then just watch the post credits.
Yeah.
Like usually I hate when people say that, like, oh, just catch up with the post credits, because like I've gotten to the point where like I don't care, you know, like the MCU could live or die for me. I'm no longer that sworn into it, but this is the first time where I'm like, yeah, okay. Like the post credit scenes were easily better than the movie, which is terrible. That's not a good thing.
That's awful, man.
So yeah, I'll lead into my review of this movie. So I'm pretty well on the same page as Peter. This movie is like dog shit. Like it's so bad. It's oh yeah, okay. I'll start with my other Ant-Man reviews. So I've seen both the Ant-Man previous movies at one point this past year. So I have it in like relatively recent memory. So one I remember enjoying in theaters, and on the rewatch, it's very clear that it is not up to where it should have been, and like even by like Marvel standards back then, like it had a rushed production, and there were a lot of elements that were just not like super strong, but it's like a pretty like solid movie, I would say. Like I gave it a 3.5, and I more or less stand by that. Um, and like what Peter was saying, like the shrinking is like so fun in that movie. The comedy is like pretty good, and it's got like great characters. Like the Louise recapping things, or like telling really long-winded stories. Really fucking smart and really funny. Then the sequel I had not seen. I think I've only seen it once before, like when it came out. And I remember enjoying it back then in 2018 when I was a Marvel shill. But now, now that I've seen it again, I like was so bored and like did not care for it whatsoever. I moved it to like one of my lowest MCU movies. I think it's above the Thor franchise, but like it's like nothing happens, and it's sort of funny but not funny enough to warrant how much time is wasted just being like playing like keep away with that building. It's really it's really fucking stupid. And then lo and behold, we get to this one, and it's like every Ant-Man film has been worse than the previous one, and this one is the latest example of that. So if I thought the first one was wheel spinning, man, this one, or sorry, the sequel, this one is just like nothing happens at all. For a movie that's supposed to introduce Kang, it doesn't do a very good job of that. Kang is not threatening, and is just like also pretty boring. Um, there's no like character arcs, which I mean, in the Ant-Man films there usually aren't, but they've stripped away everything that's interesting about the Ant-Man films, so the ensemble casts are not there, or at least the good ones. The shrinking doesn't make sense in the quantum realm. Like it's not interesting anymore.
Yeah.
like I saw someone on Twitter say like the whole fun of Ant-Man is like it recontextualizes our everyday world. So like what would I remember from the sequel, there's the giant Pez dispenser or the fight in the Thomas the Train
Yeah.
set in the first one. Like those are like great set pieces. There's none of that here. It's so stupid. Um, what else did I have on my letterbox review? Oh, it looks like shit. Like the filmmaking has gotten progressively worse every time, and this is like I'll let Aidan say his classic line about it, but um, it looks so bad. The CGI is terrible, and apparently, they were like supposed to focus on Wakanda forever, and so they had to like actually like rush. This was a rush job. People like said it out loud.
Looks like it.
Looks like it, yeah. But like the stuff done on set is not good either. Like the lighting is bad. The action scenes are really hard to follow. Anyways, I hated it, and I think we'll kind of talk about it later. But I think it's the worst thing Marvel has ever put out in the movies. That's at least my thoughts. So, I gave it a 1.5 stars. That could be a 1 star. I would not recommend people go see this. Aiden, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm very much in the same boat as you guys here. Yeah, I so to like talk about my Ant-Man experience, I have not seen either movie since they came out. I'm pretty sure I've only seen both of them once, but I remember liking both of them. Like I just remember like I thought like Michael Pena was funny. Like what was his character's name again?
Louise.
Louise. Like I thought he was really funny. I liked that they were like it was like a lighthearted kind of comedic tone. I thought it was fun. And yeah, and I really liked the how they like really focused on the specific powers of Ant-Man. But oh my god, man, like this is crazy. Like this movie accomplishes nothing. Like and it's actually like stuff going on outside. Sorry.
I didn't hear it.
Okay, yeah. This movie like we don't learn anything about the quantum realm really. The plot doesn't like like it feels like an episode. It feels like it's like a 20-minute TV episode worth of plot. Like it's like
Yeah.
very little happens here. There's like no character arc. It like sets up for a couple character arcs and then doesn't do it. Like yeah, and then there's the thing where there's a really hilarious line that's unintentionally hilarious where Scott is explaining to Cassie like, "Oh, you got to jump and tap. You see what I did?" And she's like, "No, I didn't see what you did. How could I have seen that?" And I was like, "That's me." How did you put that line in the movie and not like clock that? Like, oh yeah, the audience can't see shit or like these fight scenes are nothing because it's just a guy going like pop 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 ah, ah, ah. Like
yeah. That's what it feels like.
And it's just like what the hell? Like oh my god, this movie's filmed on the volume badly.
Mm-hmm.
They did a bad job of it. Characters always look like they're in a closed soundstage. The blocking is stale. They never feel like they are moving in a vast environment. It always feels like they have a very limited amount of space in which they can travel. It's a poor use of that technology. Looks bad. Don't really understand what happened. There's even bad composition most like a lot of the time. Like I just don't understand how that happened. There are a few things I like really quick. I actually like loved Jonathan Majors in this movie.
Really
And
interesting.
like I there were multiple times where I was like arrested. Like I was sitting there like he has one particular monologue where I was like, "Oh my god, this is crazy." And then I laughed out loud because I remembered that it was in this movie. Like I was like, "Oh, that's fun." But even that, it was like oh no, that's too specific. Yeah, this is a bad movie. It looks like Spy Kids but bad. Because Spy Kids looks good, for what it's trying to do, but this movie looks bad. I gave this 1 star. I'm pretty sure. I would most certainly not recommend this to anyone.
Yeah, woo! Great movie. We have a spoiler warning because I remembered.
Thanks for reminding
Very
me.
good. Yeah. So also you have a job to do. We have to give the 2-minute synopsis for what happens in this movie in case you didn't see it.
Okay, set a young timer for me.
What?
a young timer. Like an old timer.
Like an old timer?
Like a young timer.
That's so bad. Okay, I have a timer ready. Okay, and we're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so the movie opens. Ant-Man is doing a book reading. He has like this memoir. He's kind of settled into like more of a sedentary life. He just wants to be a dad and shit, right? Goes to his house. Goes to Michael Douglas's house, and they're talking. And Cassie, Scott's daughter, is like, "Fuck you, Dad. You don't do shit. You don't even help people anymore. But I do, because she went to jail for protesting or something, or shrinking a cop car or whatever." Okay, turns out Cassie is sending signals into the quantum realm. Whoa, Janet, Michelle Pfeiffer doesn't want her to do that, and no one knows why. They get sucked in. Whoa, they go into the quantum realm. This is where not much happens from here on out. So Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, and the Wasp, Evangeline Lilly, are like in one group. Scott and Cassie are in another. Scott and Cassie kind of get taken in by this group of people who live in the quantum realm, and we learn a little bit about like, oh, there's like a conqueror or whatever. And then what happens is like MODOK, who is like Kang, the bad guy's like assassin, comes after them. And then during this time, we also see that the other party is like meeting with Bill Murray, who like tries to ambush them or whatever. They learn a little bit, doesn't matter. They then go after to try to find Scott and Cassie, who've been kidnapped by Kang. Kang's like, Ant-Man, you need to steal this like kind of energy core that will let me get out of the quantum realm, because he's this multiversal travel that knew Janet. And Janet was like, you're a genocidal maniac. I'm not letting you out of the quantum realm. So there's that backstory. Ant-Man successfully steals it.
Uh-oh. Loading. 10
Ant-Man
seconds.
steals it. Some stuff happens. He goes away. Cassie's still kidnapped. Ant-Man comes and does it. Michael Douglas has ants that I guess lived in the quantum realm for 50 years or something. They kill Kang or something, and then they go home.
Yeah, you're out of time, but yeah, that's basically it. There's a big old fight. Kang wants to leave the quantum realm because he's been exiled there, so that's his whole deal, and he wants to steal. It's so confusing. It's a heist, but like by the loosest definition of a heist.
Not stealing it from anyone.
No. So like quotation marks heist.
Yeah.
To steal back like the weird battery that runs his time chair so that he can escape. There's a big old fight, and yeah, the ants save the day. Man, that fight like goes on forever. Yeah. But we'll get into it. So we're gonna get into our spoiler discussion now, and we've done the spoiler warning. Yes. So first off, I'm gonna ask you guys, for a movie that we all hated, what was your favorite parts? Anyone have any parts?
I have a couple things actually. Okay, so I actually, believe it or not, for the first part of this movie, I was like, this is fine so far. I was like, yeah, okay. Like, up until the moment they go into the quantum realm, which is not a big part of the movie, I was like, yeah, this is fine. This is actually, okay, yeah, I don't mind this. Like, I thought, like, yeah, like, this looks good. There was actually some, like, somewhat interesting coverage of, like, the dinner table scene. There was some weird editing in it where I was like, what's that? Like, I distinctly remember there's one moment where, like, Cassie says something, and then it cuts to, like, 3 different, fucking what
Peter, like, I think he dropped something and he went like, this is not good for the listeners, but he went like, he was like, he did a Kramer for a second, and he was like, sorry, you may continue your point.
Yeah, Cassie says something, and then it like rapidly cuts to 3 singles, and it like they're just like weird reactions. It's a weird editing moment, but the first part's fine, and it actually sets up for like, it sets up for an arc where Scott has to like learn to be a hero and learn to be self-sacrificing again.
And the movie didn't do any of that, I felt like.
But like there's like setup, like the first few scenes like work in a sense. Yeah, and then it gets in, but yeah, like, so that's a part I liked. I actually like didn't mind it. I was like, oh, okay, when is this gonna get bad? And then it got really bad.
Yeah, I completely agree. That was one of the first things I had written down when I was watching it, was hey, this is actually like a pretty good intro of like catching up with Scott. Like usually like they do kind of have good intros. I think the anime movies have done that pretty well. Because it's always like fun seeing where the character has been, and it's always like really stupid shit. So like going back to Baskin Robbins was really fun.
Yeah.
And the guy from I Think You Should Leave, the older like Italian guy.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Spider Man. You know, like yeah, it was good. And then the setup that like Cassie is like following in her father's footsteps, and kind of hypocritically like he's not happy about that. Like
Yeah.
she's ending up in jail. Like, dude, like that's something you did, and he's suddenly like upset with her.
Yeah.
So I think that was really interesting, and yeah, setting up an arc that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like here's a clear starting spot, and who gives a shit? Like sort of an arc happens, but there's nothing to like actually build into it.
Yeah.
Peter, did you have any thoughts about the intro?
Honestly, I have the exact same opinion as you guys. It's a great setup, you know, just sort of comparison. Like, what is it like post Endgame for an Avenger? You know, it's like you thought you defeated a greatest threat, and Earth is safe now. Do you just retire and have a normal life, or is there still that expectation of you to be out there and helping people? And I thought like that conflict is very, very interesting, and it's like something that I think Marvel should explore. It's like already like before the next big bad comes into the spotlight, what are the Avengers doing right now? And I think that's something I'm genuinely curious about. And Cassie and Scott's conflict sort of set that up perfectly, which again was not brought up for like the rest of the movie, which is kind of a shame. My favorite part, to be honest, is like I thought like the movie lied to us, you know, like like in the marketing material and everything. They're like, oh, it's a heist movie. It's a heist movie. It's a heist movie. Ant-Man goes on a heist. Ant-Man goes serious. You know, Ant-Man's gonna lose. You know, and I was like, okay, I'm really hyped about that. It's a very different take on the Ant-Man character. The whole heist lasted less than 10 minutes. Like,
Also wasn't nice.
yeah, like I
Oh,
thought if we just see more of the heist, I actually enjoyed like the whole like the Ant-Man human tower thing.
Oh, I like
It's like
that too. Yeah.
like you know like the Ant-Man collectively come to an understanding where it's like, okay, we're doing this for our kid. Let's get out there and save her. Um, and if there's just more of that, just like quantum realm somehow the realm itself poses obstacles for Scott to
yeah.
regain the
Yeah.
engine of the time machine. And instead of focusing on like three different side plots going on, we gotta reach this Bill Murray's character. We gotta do this. We gotta do that. We gotta start a resistance. It's like I'm not here for that. Like that just goes directly into the mundane, the cliche category. And I think MCU like at least like has done some weird stuff in the past, like with like Guardians, with the Werewolf by Night, like all these weird projects. I think like these are like shiny moments, honestly, in the MCU, and I enjoyed them. So when the marketing material came out, said it's going to be a heist movie, I was very hyped. But then the whole heist lasted 10 minutes, and I thought heist was the best part of the movie for me.
Yeah, so I'll just explain what that was. So it's the probability field sequence is what I call it. So basically, Kang's chair is powered by like this battery, but it's not a regular AA battery. It's
unfortunately
it's a triple A battery.
It's a little bit smaller than that even. It's like literally a probability field that's been like squeezed into like a ball thing. And in the past, when Janet was in the quantum realm, she had like blown it up to like huge size. And so it's not a heist. He just has to like, does he shrink to get in there? I don't even remember.
Like shrink, and then he like goes into the big ball, and then there's a smaller big ball in the bigger big ball.
I don't even know. But yeah,
I couldn't even tell you what happens. The Wasp comes and saves him.
Well, first the way it works is every time he makes a decision, he splits in two. So, if he's like, I'll do it or I won't do it. Then there's two of him, and literally like one is like, oh, I'll do it, but then I don't even know if it follows its own rules. Like I was like, wait, is that actually like splitting on two different decisions, or is it just like splitting randomly? Because, anyways, so that's what happened. So suddenly there's like millions of Ant-Men all talking. One is in a Baskin Robbins, which is kind of funny. And yeah, he has to. He's not even fucking stealing it, but I'll say what I like about it first. So I really like that it physicalizes his internal conflict, which is something like good screenwriters do is try to like show how that conflict, because like an internal conflict is hard to like portray on screen, and so to make it physical by doing like this kind of thing like is actually really smart, because it's the arc that seems to be in place very vaguely is he's like doesn't want to be a hero anymore, I guess. No idea why or like to what extent, like is he afraid or is he just kind of like waiting? Who's to say? But so the idea that like, you know, every time he's like, should I be the hero or should I not, you get different Ant-Man is really interesting. It's an interesting idea.
No, I completely agree with that, and I think there's some interesting visuals too. I really like the wide shots here where it's like all the Ant-Men when they work together, because they're like it like kind of descends into chaos, and then Cassie like calls out, and then it's like, my daughter, that's my daughter.
Why is he from Brooklyn?
So they're from Brooklyn in that scene, but they all kind of band together, and then they act like ants, and they like tower up the way ants do, and I thought that was actually a really cool visual. But yeah, I also just felt like the concept of a probability field, cool idea, just never, like, they don't do anything. Like that one thing is cool, and then they don't do anything else with it. And it's like, this is like the midpoint of the movie, right? And it's a weak midpoint, like narratively, because like
I think it's the Dark Knight of the Soul. I think it's the lowest point because he has to. Well, it's right before the third act. Well, yeah.
Whatever. But I think like it's a weak point narratively because like his art, like he has to. What should happen in this movie is that there has to be a scene where like Cassie is in trouble, and there's also a bunch of like civilians in trouble, and Ant-Man has to let Cassie fend for himself and save the civilians. That's like the thing that needs to happen in this arc. Like it was like very apparent to me, and it's like all that happens narratively in the scene is that like he loves his daughter. We knew that. That's where he started from. Like it's not a revelation. Like this needs to be like the beginning of a turning point. This needs to like propel him to finish the arc. And because this point doesn't happen, like it's they still could have finished it, but they don't. Like it makes it even harder.
Peter?
Oh, you can go first, Alex.
Okay, sure. I was gonna let you go first, but whatever. No, yeah, like what I wrote down was in this scene that should like is one of the like most pivotal scenes in the movie. I feel like he doesn't learn anything, which is like so fucking stupid. It's just unclear to me. Why is he not being a hero? Like it seems almost like he's afraid based on the probability field scene. It seems like he's afraid to be a hero. Like he just wants to run away. But that's not like clear at all in the beginning or the second act or anywhere else that there's like a fear of anything, because why would he be afraid? He hasn't done anything.
What I inferred is that it was like generally it was a fear of like it was like the fatherly fear, like if I get hurt, my kid doesn't have a dad. I was gone for 5 years and my kid didn't have a dad for 5 years. And so like I don't want to die or something and like leave my child fatherless once again. Also don't want her to get hurt. I did infer that, like, but I agree like the movie could do a little bit more to like contextualize that.
But also also like the trailers are completely misleading for this sequence because they literally say Oh man, the juxtaposition of like dialogue and scenes that are like technically in the movie, but to produce like this like completely incorrect version of what should be happening. So it sounds like Kang is offering him time with Cassie,
Yeah,
like to get time back, and
yeah,
then they just like don't even do that. Maybe it was his offer, but like he doesn't take him up on it. But
yeah,
like that's so boring
yeah,
to not even like consider showing us that. It's just I think it's literally dialogue and then a 5 minute sequence. That's it. You
yeah.
know?
That is a so much more interesting
I know, right?
concept too, of like
Yeah.
him doing this thing that's like actually kind of like a morally negative thing, like because of his fears or whatever, and just be like, nope, no, we're not doing that actually.
It should have been the whole movie.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
that
exactly
should
what I
have
was
been the
gonna
plot of
bring
the
up.
movie.
Because I thought that's actually a very interesting concept. It's like something that Scott wants that Cassie doesn't. You know, it's like Cassie's like, "Yo, Dad, this is clearly a bad guy. Don't listen to him." But Scott is like, is there a way for them to show that Scott has that guilt of not being there for his daughter, and the guilt has built up over time, and now like he sort of sees this separation between him and his daughter, like this gap sort forming between them, and then he thinks by getting time back he will fix that, and then obviously Kang doesn't give time back or like tricks him or like somehow. But like I thought that would be a much more interesting movie,
Yeah,
like
it's
exactly
like a
like you
Faustian
said.
bargain. Like,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
would have been so much more interesting.
Like I think the whole thing is he's supposed to be looking out for the little guy and he hasn't been because they keep saying that, right?
Yeah,
And I think that idea like if he's only thinking about himself and like
Mhm.
getting that time back with Cassie for himself,
Yeah.
that's like the selfish motive. Like for once in an Ant-Man movie, Scott Lang would have an arc because none of the ones before I don't think he has an arc. Like even the first one, there's a semblance of an arc, but it's not great. But yeah, I feel like there's a pacing issue where the first I don't know the first act isn't great either, but mostly the first half of the second act is like a complete waste.
yeah,
Kang isn't introduced until the midpoint. Move that up to Act One. Introduce Kang way earlier. Spend
Yeah.
Act Two doing a real full heist.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and then show like those different challenges, and then probability sequence, whatever.
Yeah.
Also, like the ending of the scene, so stupid. The Wasp comes in to save Ant-Man, but his plan is to just throw one of the throwing stars that should shrink the thing, and it doesn't work. Great moment when you try something and it doesn't work.
yeah.
What do they do to like succeed? They do it again, but more.
Yeah,
They just
right.
throw a lot of them,
I
and that
forgot,
solves it. I'm like, that's it? Like, you're not even gonna like do anything different? It's literally the same thing, but more.
Yeah.
What a great way to end.
Yeah, and I also thought like the entire like throwing star concept is just like it seems like every movie has a different mechanic, you know? Like you can put it in the suit to go quantum, like in the first movie, where he shrank so small he could break Yellow Jacket's suit. He put it in his suit, right? He put it like a
I
shrinking
don't
star
remember.
in his
He
suit.
did. It's something about the regulator. Like you turn the regulator off.
Yeah,
I think that was
he
the
put a
thing.
shrinking star in the regulator, I think.
That's how he
So,
came
yeah.
back. That's how he came back.
Oh, that's how he came back. Okay, something like that. And then in this movie, like at the very end, when they smash a bunch of stars onto Kang's time engine, like apparently that just turns it into a bomb. Like
I don't know.
it's just like I hate it when powers are not fully explained. Like you don't understand the full limitation of it, and then the director or the writer just abuse it. It's like, oh, this is a shrinking star moment. This is a star moment. Yeah, we can use a star here. You know?
I might be jumping in too much, but that's also a hilarious moment where the portal is open, presumably because of this time orb engine, right? Like that's how they're able to open the portal back to the real world.
Mhm.
They
And
destroy
then Cassie
it,
just used their
portal
beacon.
opens again, and they go home.
Well,
What?
Dude, it's
okay.
like Spider-Man Far From Home, but it's like Spider-Man found a mysterious video and just deleted it and never went live on the big screen.
It would literally be like if he made that decision, but then he was like, "Oh no, I can actually just make people remember."
Yeah, you know what? Let's just all be happy.
I can't explain this, so we might as well get to it while we're here. This is a reshoot ending. So apparently, I think it was literally January they did this reshoot, like not that long ago.
Damn.
What was supposed to happen was Ant-Man and the Wasp were supposed to be quote unquote stranded in the quantum realm.
Right.
And so when the portal closes, like that was it for them. They would be stuck there. Now, the issue you may be thinking is that this sounds a lot like the end of the last movie where Ant-Man is stuck stranded in the quantum realm. Hence why they decided to change it. Now, the fact that they had already filmed an ending with like they had gotten that far with an ending that was so similar to the second movie, like, is insane. Like, you should
That's concerning,
in production with a bad ending,
Yeah.
but somehow they decided to make it worse. So they reshot stuff with them going back to the real world. So the entire like last 5 minutes where he's recapping and he's buying a cake and they're at dinner, new stuff. That was not the original ending, which is also why it's so like clunky.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but like he comes to the same conclusion twice.
It's
probably fine, you know.
It's 2 scenes back to
the world's
back.
fine.
It's 2 scenes back to back where he's like, where the end of the scene is, wait, did we actually stop Kang? Oh, it's fine. And then he goes to the next scene and he's like, wait, did we actually stop Kang? No, wait, it's fine. I'm like, dude, you just did that. You only need one. How did you guys feel about that ending? We're way out of order, but yeah. What do you guys think about the ending?
What the fuck happens? Like after he...
Ken died.
He buys a cake and he's doing...
Oh, that
ending. It's a repeat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a repeat of... the opening.
Yeah.
So he's seeing the same people. $12 coffee was a joke.
Yeah.
And the ant cake, and then they go to dinner, and I think it's literally like one of those things where it's like, "Happy birthday, Cassie," and everyone's like, "Oh, ha 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 ha, ha good joke." And then he's still in his head, and he's like, "Wait till you stop Kang." Oh, I don't know. And then he takes a bite of cake, and he goes, "Yuck, bad cake."
Oh yeah, dude, that was so bad, dude. I was watching this, and I was like. Just end. Like, you're done. You're finished. Just like get there. It's like,
oh man,
oh my god, like that's such a weak gag to end the movie on.
Right?
Like, you're paying off the gag that was set up 2 minutes prior. Like,
yeah. Also, like, I can't even think of what a good ending to this movie is because it's so bad. But
dude, it's just very scattered, the movie.
Because it is true that if you end in the quantum realm again, like that is the last movie. That's not like a scary thing anymore. Because whereas in Ant-Man and the Wasp, he's stuck like in this like floaty, like the middle of space kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where there's like no one around him. He's in like a city.
Yeah.
That's not really that bad.
And we also know they have the technology to go into the quantum realm.
Like okay, if they had established that he ran out of those throwing stars because he had used so many in the probability field sequence, that's a thing. Then it's like, oh, they are stuck because they ran out.
Dude,
they don't do that. And there's so many people there.
Speaking of the...
like the threat is gone.
Oh, man. Like, what if he had ended up in a different reality because of Kang? Like a multiverse. That's a good ending.
Yeah.
And I just thought of it like 2 seconds ago.
Dude, speaking of the stars, just want to bring up a quick point. Remember how they used to like use the stars to make like a toy-sized thing bigger? Like how Hank Pym literally summoned a tank in the first one? Yeah. Why don't they do that anymore? That's fun.
Because this is the quantum realm. And
dude, it's like
there's nothing we know. It's a new world.
Dude, it's like
stuff makes no sense to us.
You know, like it would be so cool if that like a Quinjet in the pocket and just toss it up. It's like, oh, it's big now because you use this Quinjet to fly around. You know?
Yeah, and like, correct me if I'm wrong. Like the point of the idea of the quantum realm is that it's like a space between atoms, right?
It's very small, yes.
Like it's that, but like play with that idea of like how do his powers change in this world? We don't know anything about this world. Like how he just has the same power set.
Yeah.
Do something. And we also learn like nothing about the quantum realm. Like we don't know like nothing about how it works. We don't know why these people are there. How are people living there? Like
why do they look like people? Because they also don't know what humans are.
Like,
you know?
Yeah, like what are their like explore this world. You know what I mean? Like I have the point written down where it's like this movie wastes so many scenes, and it like it in the first half of the movie it wastes so many scenes that like it gets itself into a real problem that like we haven't learned enough to care about anything by the end of it. Like there are multiple scenes. It's in the part where they've just gone the quantum realm and they're divided into two groups. It keeps cutting away from each other's scenes and nothing happens. Like
they're in that spaceship for like 45 minutes, just talking, and I'm like, fucking do something.
No, but like literally, like even if it's not just that they're not talking, they're like in a good scene, there's a conflict that creates a significant change, and then in a world building movie, ideally we also learn a bunch of stuff about that world in that same scene.
Absolutely,
it keeps cutting away before change occurs in the scene. Like when Scott and Cassie are like there, it's like they're just talking, cut away, and like nothing changed. You did not progress the plot at all. And then it cuts to Janet, and like a little bit happens there, and then it cuts back to Scott and Cassie. Scott and Cassie, that's like 4 different scenes it's divided into of them just like being like hanging out with the rebellion or whatever.
Yeah.
And like that could have been a 3-page scene. Like that could have been a 3-page scene. You did not need to do that.
My favorite part about that is when the leader of the resistance group is like, I'm going to torture you for information. They cut away, they cut back, and she's like, well, that's enough of that. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? You did it off screen? Oh man, that drove me crazy. Because it was like, oh, this will be interesting. Don't get to see it though.
Yeah.
This movie's making me insane. Peter?
Dude, and I just thought also, like, Jenna has such a great subplot where it's like, you know, it's like, I'm the one that made Kang like who he is now, and do the resistance know about it? Like when they find out, how would they react? And I'm technically the one that knows the quantum realm the most, but I'm like concealing the fact that I know about it. You know, there's like so many things, like, you know, facing past trauma, you know, just like being here stranded, and like the fact that she had to fight Kang, and then how things change. But then we just saw it's like, okay, yeah, Bill Murray and Kang are friends now. Yeah, Resistance is still around, not doing too hot. It's like, give it like I would love if it's just like a flashback, like Ant-Man's not involved in a movie at all, and it's just like how Kang rose to power or something. Because like it's much more interesting than any of the things that the movie tried to do, in my opinion. So it's like,
I completely agree. I would say one of my other favorite parts was the flashback between Kang and Janet. That is like, when I say like that was the part where I was like, holy shit, Jonathan Majors is like, he's going off here. Like this is so, he's like, he has a line where he says, like, he's elevating this shit script. I was picturing the words on a page, and I was like, yeah, this is just nothing dialogue. Like, but he's giving it so much. Like, he looks like he's like a haunted person that like needs to believe the things he's saying, and there's like clear like doubt and fear in what he's saying too. It's so interesting. But to respond to what you're saying, Peter, I completely agree with you. I have a point written down that says Scott shouldn't be the protagonist. And what I mean by that is that Janet is realistically should be the protagonist of this movie. And I have a screenwriting prof who says like, you have a real problem if your protagonist isn't really doing anything, like, and isn't taking the main actions and doesn't have the most interesting anchor to the story. And Janet does. And so if you break the movie down, Scott doesn't take like any of the major actions, like any of the major plot points. Like the catalyst happens, they're in the quantum realm. Our initial conflict, like once we're here, is that like, okay, we need to find each other and get out. Scott doesn't commit to that until after Janet has already committed to it. Janet commits to it. She's like, we have to solve this problem. We have to go do this. Scott gives like a somewhat wishy-washy passive committal and then gets captured. Like, and so he doesn't accomplish it. And then if we go to like the crisis action, which is like the biggest action you have to take in order to like solve the problem, which is like it's like right before the climax, like the biggest thing you have to do. Scott doesn't take it. Michael Douglas takes it because he brings in
ants.
The ants.
The ants do it. Like Scott doesn't do anything. Like there is a point prior where he comes in all big and he's kicking shit around, but that doesn't do anything to the plot. And that's also a funny moment because it's like Kang is this big villain, and then Ant-Man does basic powers, and Kang's like, "What's happening?"
He's killed Ant-Man before. He knows his powers. This should not be surprising.
Dude, the guy killed Thor before. Like, what the fuck?
But yeah, like Scott, like should not be the protagonist of this movie. Janet has such a more like promising anchor into this story. Like, it's very like she and Michael Douglas have the most important things to do in this movie. Yeah, and like I just think that's shocking. Like, it's Ant-Man.
Yeah, it's when it says Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's talking about her. She is the Wasp in the title, and Michael Douglas may as well be the Ant-Man.
Yeah, they didn't say which pair.
I literally thought that in the theater. I was like, well, I guess technically it is about the other Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like,
but like what you're saying is so true. Like, Janet is so important in this movie, which I mean, great for Michelle Pfeiffer. Like, don't waste her if you're gonna get her. Yeah. I mean, like Michael Douglas is like doing nothing in this movie. Like, he was a respected actor for that, you know. But I mean, yeah, I think what you're saying about the flashback scenes, those are the most interesting. Even then, though, like, they're so like I was sitting in the theater for a movie that's so boring. Like, the flashback scenes are just kind of they're the best, but there's not enough happening for me. Yeah, I think part of the problem is like the space is so boring that they're in like a hut, and like a hut on a plane. Like the I'm gonna be pretentious now, but like the mise en scène is not there.
Yeah,
no one put any thought into what was going on, and then
it's
also
so dark.
It's so dark. Like, I think they're also just afraid of like putting all of like the Kang stuff out there early. Yeah. So I think they literally said they cut so much of Kang's backstory because they want to save it. Don't fucking save it.
Yeah.
Because you.
What are they saving it for?
For like the actual thing, I guess. Because they like.
Oh my god!
Make the character work for the movie he's in. If he's the villain of this
movie,
if
they're saving it for Kang Dynasty, oh my god, that movie's gonna flop. Yeah, it's too late.
Like they're trying to do like the Thanos thing where you don't actually know his character until that first movie, and just fucking do that here because there's a whole backstory about Kang that we don't know, and it makes his actions like kind of confusing. And he's like, I need to like control the timeline, and it's like, but like I don't actually know why.
Yeah,
you know,
and I didn't remember Loki enough. I didn't remember Loki well enough personally, so I was just like, okay, wait, why is he doing that again? Like, what's going on here?
And even between those two things, like if you rewatch Loki, like there's not enough information about why he's doing what he's doing, and also like he's not introduced until like halfway through the movie, which really slows it down because they're wasting so much time to be like, we're gonna bring him up in the midpoint, and it's gonna be like a huge thing, and like he's in flashbacks, but that doesn't count.
Yeah,
like I think let's talk about Kang. Or actually, sorry, Peter has his hand up. What do you want?
Yeah, I want to talk about Kang. So
okay, let's talk about Kang.
My God, Kang was not well introduced. Kang got defeated by a bunch of ants. Let's be real. He's like, Force shield! And it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna go!
Kang Dynasty is gonna be over like so quickly.
Yeah, it's like, you know, Ant-Man's like, oh, I killed this guy before, you know? Just ants. Solution, ants. Like, that's he's supposed to be a Thanos level villain, you know, and I think, and like even at this point, we still, I personally still don't realize how terrifying he is. Like
Right?
I've seen like how like explanations of his power, and like we sort of get a taste of that in Loki, where he like instead of like when Sylvie stabbed her, spoiler, sorry, when Sylvie stabbed him, he sort of like instead of like like oh why'd you kill me, he's like see you soon, you know. It's like he had this interesting timeline manipulation thing going on where killing he who remains unleashes all the Kang variants, and we don't realize how scary that is, and how killing Kang, like killing one Kang, doesn't really stop anything because there's so many Kangs out there, and all of them are capable of destruction. And well, I mean, some more than others, but like all of them are capable of destruction and hold such immense power. So, and like we don't realize that like in this movie it's literally okay, Ken beats Scott in a fist fight, and then Scott and what's the Wasp name, fuck, Hope, right,
Yeah.
was smart and decided to detonate a bomb and just like push Kang onto it. It's like Kang's like, oh, I'm gonna die now, and just die. And this is supposed
That
to
was my
be
favorite line
the
in the movie.
most terrifying Kang variant, where the Council of Kang exile because he's so bloodthirsty and like he's like out there trying to get revenge, etc. And you just die like that. Like, come on, man. Ken should have won at the end of this movie. This should be like a warning sign of like how scary Kang is, to lead us into Loki, to lead us into Kang Dynasty. And Scott shouldn't leave the movie. Shouldn't leave the quantum realm all like cherry. It's like, oh, we probably defeated Kang. It should be like, oh fuck, guys, like there's something coming and it is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the reason why Thanos was like worked by like showing Thanos bit by bit, it's like we know Thanos is a big threat. It's like they were fighting the Chitauri in Avengers 1, and it's like, okay, actually we defeated Chitauri. We thought Loki was a big bad, but actually there's someone behind Loki. So we sort of like know how terrifying Thanos is relative to the villains we faced in the past, but there's no reference to Kang at all here. Like Kang is not manipulating some minion in the foreground to sort of to do his bidding. It's like him doing it himself, but he kept failing. So it's like I can't be scared of a character like that.
Yeah. For a movie that's supposed to like intro the big bad, it does such a poor job because he's not scary. It's like what you're saying. Someone described him, like I think it was just on a Letterboxd review, as like he's like a Darth Vader character. Like no, he is not. And I think two of the problems are more like structural problems, in that one, there's no like, he doesn't start fighting people until the third act. And I think, and like then he has to lose. Whereas if he had started like actually fighting people, or like, I don't know, like he does that kind of like the Force threat, like maybe that's why they're calling him Darth Vader, because like in the prison scene. But even that, like, it doesn't do anything for me.
It's like
I'm not
someone
afraid of
behind
him,
bars and you're just like beating them
right?
further. It's
And
like there's no way for them to fight back.
like I think another issue is that the filmmaking is just so bad at making him appear threatening in any way.
Yeah.
I don't know what it, like there's so many different things, but like leaving the movie, I was like, okay, clearly like the Avengers are not going to have a problem dealing with this guy. And maybe it's because he gets defeated by ants.
Yeah.
But there's nothing there.
It's really funny that he has this whole like telekinesis thing, but
Oh
then
my God.
like,
Let's
and it's
talk
like
about
that's
that.
working, and they're hitting him with, and he's hitting them with it, and then they start
Never.
punching him more, and now he
Uh.
can't do it anymore. It doesn't
Like-
work anymore. They're punching him harder now. So,
his power set is so unclear. Like I know what it's supposed to be. He's from the future. So he doesn't have any powers. He's from the future, and everything he does is technology based. Like I'm from the 21st, or not the 21st century, from like the 51st or whatever century.
Yeah.
And so it's that technology that allows me to take over and do all these crazy things. And I'm sure he's got a great intellect or whatever. But like then he starts doing like insane shit that could not be explained by technology. So like like I wrote it down. His energy manipulation, like he just blasts shit. Sure, that could theoretically be like gauntlets. Okay. He has telekinesis. Maybe that's technology. I don't know how you can explain that. Like, how do you tech the force?
Yeah.
Whatever. He portals in this movie. He creates a portal to get to the heist scene. And like, how? How are you doing that? Where's the technology? It's not even like the square portals from the TVA, which would at least make sense.
Yeah.
I just like I'm so mad about this one thing. Anyways.
Did the console of Kang did Aidan, do you have a point?
No, it's fine, you go.
Did the console of Kang...
This is spoilers for the
post credit
scenes.
Yeah.
Although we're already spoiling the entire movie, so whatever.
Yeah.
But anyways,
did the console of Kang scene make sense to you guys? Like, I thought like it didn't do that much for me.
There's a hilarious piece of dialogue. There's a thing that happens multiple times in this movie where a character says something and then another character responds to it, but they're not responding to the thing that was said to them. It's as if
what
said something else. Like in this Council of Kang, whatever the fuck.
What's wrong with you guys? It's a council, not a console.
Council of Kang. I don't know. Council of Kangs. There's one guy who's like, "Oh, that Kang is dead," like the one they banished to the quantum realm or whatever. Yeah. And then another one says like, "Oh, you're just mad that you didn't kill him himself. You kill him yourself." And then another person says, "None of us killed him." It's like, that is not a response to what he just said. He didn't say that.
Man, that whole scene is so like, it's so goofy. Like, I could not take it seriously. I was like, this is your threatening scene? They look like they're in cosplay right now. Like,
it looks like a circus, for real.
It's a circus. The costuming is not scary. Like, and then you've got like all the Kangs in the council going like, ooh, and they're like cheering like a bunch of rowdy football fans. I'm like, that's not scary at all. I don't know what you were thinking, but like, I know like, oh man, I know like that's what it's supposed to be, like Immortus Ramatat. Like, conceptually, like, I don't know how you translate this guy wearing a pharaoh outfit and making that look like a legit like scary thing just based on it's the incongruity. Like, he's in space. He's in space and he's wearing like a pharaoh hat. He looks silly.
Yeah.
But like, oh man, what a terrible post-credit scene. Yeah. And then following it up with like the best post-credit scene I've seen in a long time. So like, let's talk about that one. The scene from Loki season 2 was the best part of this entire movie. The post-credit, at least for me, this post-credit scene, because this is literally the only time Kang appears threatening, and it's because of a close-up reaction shot.
Yeah.
Like, someone who knows what filmmaking is and like can apply those things is the only reason why I'm even a little scared of Kang, and it's because Loki sees Kang and he looks terrified.
Yeah.
Even though he's not wearing a suit, he looks like a goofy little I don't know, Nikola Tesla type guy with glasses or whatever. But like, that scene works because someone knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about that scene?
No, I completely agree. Like, I think that was... I was kind of checked out by then. Like, I actually, like, stood up and was walking down the stairs and was like, oh, fuck, there's another one of these.
Another one.
And so, like, I just kind of, like, stood to the side and just waited for it. But, yeah, no, I liked it. Like, because the thing you say about, like, the close-ups, like, this movie is generally allergic to close-ups, which I think is, like, that made me so upset because there's multiple times where Jonathan Majors is doing a great job of delivering these lines, and we are in like a medium full shot, and he's like in shadow, and like we can't see his face because it's too dark. Like, so yeah, like a scene where it's like we just see him, he emerges out of the darkness, we see his face in full, cut to a close reaction shot. That's so powerful in comparison to what we just saw.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm still thinking about that scene, like
Yeah.
it's starting in darkness, but like a good darkness because someone knows lighting clearly on the Loki set. Oh man.
Well, and I think it's also
yeah.
very unexpected, right? Like you don't expect to
Yeah.
see a Loki scene in Quantumania, and like I don't think they've ever done like showing like a scene from a TV show at the end of a movie.
They've done stupid shit like that though.
Like that, it felt familiar. Like it felt
taking a scene. So Ant-Man 1 ends with a scene from Civil War.
Right, but I'm saying like from the TV show into the movie.
Not from TV show. They
yeah,
but
and I thought like one thing that's really cool to me is like you immediately realize like, oh, Kang's not supposed to be there. Like Kang doesn't belong in that era, and then obviously like you have the polar opposite, Mobius versus Loki, their reaction, and like that just gets you hyped for Loki season 2. It's like, yo, Kang is gonna be in like in Marvel properties other than movies, you know? And I think that concept is so interesting and very exciting that we're going to see Kang multiple times before the eventual battle in Avengers. So yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Also, I just wanted to say, like, I had a discussion with someone and they thought, I want to see what you guys think. So the Kang at the end of the movie in the post-credits, that's the same Kang we've been seeing the entire movie, right?
No.
Okay, so I'm the only one who thinks that. But I do think that from the way Scott kind of ends the movie, like we defeated him, right? That seems to me like him getting into the bomb thing. Like I think my
just
guess
got teleported to a different time. Sorry.
Either that or one of those things where he's been like, oh, I got exploded across the time stream and I'm everywhere now. He's everywhere. He's everything everywhere all at once. I almost missed the everything. But no, I could see happening. Like Loki travels throughout time and everywhere he goes, he sees Kang. That'd be pretty cool. But I don't think he's gone. I did have a real point though. My last thing about why Kang doesn't work in this movie is he's not an Ant-Man villain. Now, that's not necessarily a problem. You can put in a villain who's not from the comics a villain. But the issue is that they don't then make him an Ant-Man villain or like a villain that is specific to this character. Yeah. He's just like a guy that Ant-Man comes across. Like their conflict isn't personal. Yeah. And I'm almost certain like Kang probably says that like it's not personal. Yeah. I need you to do something for me because you have a specific skill set. Also, not really true. There's like 5 different people who could have done that. Yeah. And he has to kidnap Cassie to make it personal. But I think like that doesn't do enough. Yeah. Because you've got a character who like something that I've been noticing in my rewatch of the MCU is 90% of the time the villain is like a dark reflection of the main character or a main character. Yeah. And I think that's like honestly like in most movies, even outside the MCU, because it's just good writing. Your villain should reflect the main character in some way to provide a room to grow, right? So the character says, here's that trait I have turned to a dark version of it. Yeah. And I can learn from that. But there's like nothing that applies that is part of Kang's personality that applies to anyone in the movie. The first couple movies, it's usually a dark reflection of Hope or Hank. So Darren Cross, Yellow Jacket, that's like a dark Hope more than anything else because he's like, he feels rejected by Hank and even like they're, well, whatever. The sequel, Ghost, that's an evil Wasp, not an evil Ant-Man because Ant-Man has no character arc. Yeah. But like Kang doesn't even reflect anything for any of the main characters.
Kang needs to he needs to like represent like the selfishness of Ant-Man. So yes, that, like yes. by overcoming Kang, Ant-Man's also overcoming that.
Exactly. Like that's what they needed.
That's what needs to happen in this, and it's just like nope. Yeah.
Because also like Kang's selfishness, like I don't get it. Is he selfish? Because I don't understand why he's doing what he's doing. right?
Well, it's not
like
even
he wants to escape the quantum realm, but like who wouldn't?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, but it's not even like, I don't even know if Kang needs to be that selfish himself. He just needs to be this thing that like offers Scott the easy way out.
Okay,
and Scott needs to choose to take it. Like whether or not to take it. Like that's what needs to happen. And it's just like instead we do a heist, but it's not a real heist. Like
not a real heist.
Yeah.
Well, I think on top of that, I think like you just can't really empathize with Kang as a villain. It's like Thanos. Like he had a legitimate reason. It's like, oh, universe is dying. People are using too much resources. We need to reduce the population by half. Like it is a cause that people can get behind, you know. But like Kang is like, okay, I want to conquer worlds. I want to destroy them. What?
Sorry, Alex. I won't trump the line.
Thank you. I mean, like if it's a direct response to Peter, like I got something kind of separate, so you can.
I was gonna say like there is something. Movie doesn't explain it well, and I don't really remember. So like, there is something like timelines. There is bad stuff happening. I do get the sense like he feels like this is the thing he needs to do. I just don't feel.
But like why? You know, why is he compelled to do that?
Because they don't explain it.
But like I just think they need to explain that. Sorry, Alex, what were you gonna say?
Well, okay, two things. I'll respond to that first because like I'm actually kind of annoyed that they're going this route because it's the Thanos route. Like I've seen this before. The benevolent like I'm just calling what needs to be called is stale. We've done that before. That was Thanos. Can we not just have a guy who thinks he's right, but like for selfish reasons? Like I just want to be the king of the universe. Like that's something that could make sense for a particular type of person. I don't need it to be like I'm saving everybody. He doesn't need to be the hero just like Thanos was. I think it's too much repeat, but
right. But is that what happens in the comics? Like, is that Kang's motivation?
Like I've read very little. I read one. I think it was called Timeless. It was a recent comic that kind of like summarized who Kang was throughout comic history and into like one book. And so his thing was like I'm trying to remember. So he's in love with this person, Ravana, who was in Loki. So they'll eventually bring her into the fold, I'm imagining. But they don't even mention her in this movie, which is insane to me. So he's in love with this person, and he's always trying to like make himself into the conqueror. Like his older selves are like training him, and they're like, you have to like not love and like because that's weakness or whatever. And his thing is like he wants a challenge, he wants to conquer, and like I don't get any of that from this movie. But what I was gonna say was, what this movie should have been is, I think what you said, like him choosing the selfish path, like that's what he should have just done. That like in the second act, midpoint, let's say, he gets the opportunity to like, or actually no, this would probably be closer to like third act, but whatever, doesn't matter. Like he does get the thing from Kang and he gets time with Cassie, and then like he's in this like warped reality where things are different. Like maybe the Avengers are gone, and he could get stranded there, maybe not, but like that's actually like an interesting thing they could have done.
Absolutely.
And then he has to spend like he has to take the most drastic actions to undo what he's done, which is like a tried and true like good plot thing. And then like it's also a good plot thing because then it's like the biggest action he has to take is the thing he should have done from the beginning, which is like not like be selfless and
help the little guy,
and help the
whatever
little guy.
That is. But man, we could have written a better Ant-Man movie. Any other thoughts on Kang?
No. Disappointed, to be honest. I think they like wasted Jonathan Majors.
I think he like elevates the Little He as so much though. I actually think he's great in this movie.
Yeah, he is great, but it
wasn't
wasn't enough.
I don't think that he was that good in this movie, to be honest.
I really liked him.
Yeah? Okay.
If you like Jonathan Majors, go check out Last Black Man in San Francisco. That's
I really want to watch that. Yeah.
With him in it. Trying to think what else I've seen. Oh, it was
Creed 3.
I didn't see it yet. I don't know. I'm working on it. Wasn't he in that Western movie? Or maybe there was someone else.
Yeah, he's in what's it called?
I don't remember now.
The
Harder They Fall. Was he in that?
Yes. He was in that. He was the main hero, I think.
I'm seeing. Oh, Idris Elba. He was the bad guy though, wasn't he?
Idris Elba is the bad
Jonathan
guy.
Majors stars in that movie. You're right.
Yeah.
He's not had a lot actually.
Oh,
He was in the Devotion, the Top Gun movie. He was in To Five Bloods, which is Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Some stuff I've never heard.
Well, there's also Lovecraft County, right?
Oh, and I did see that. Yeah, I've seen him a bunch. Anyways, he's great. Now that we're done talking about Kang, let's talk about the other big bad of the movie. And by big bad, I mean it was bad, and he is big,
very big,
big bad. MODOK. I'm gonna start with my rant about this because I have strong feelings about MODOK.
Okay.
So, MODOK is silly looking. I get it. I know. That's the point. When you take the silly looking character and make him silly, it's like, I think that's like a hat on a hat. Like, that's stupid. The funny thing about MODOK is that he is so threatening. Not like, okay, he doesn't like kill Avengers ever. Like, he's never actually done anything interesting in the comics, but like he has this inflated ego of like his own abilities, and he acts like he is like the Terminator, T2 kind of like, or 2000 or 1000, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he should act like he is unstoppable, so that when he looks so stupid and is maybe not as competent as he would like, that's funny.
Yeah.
Because it's the incongruity between who he thinks he is and what he actually is. That's like comedy 101. I learned this in comedy class last year. There was a real course I took, and I could have written a better MODOK based on that. And so that's what makes me so frustrated, because they turn a character who's from the previous movie, what's his name? Darren Cross.
Yeah.
They turned Darren Cross, who's like a psychopath in that movie. He's so evil.
Yeah, like an unhinged monster detached from all humanity. Like, that's what
like
he represents.
Unhinged is the best word, because and then when he needs to like be that more than ever in MODOK, he's like Brad, like just some Brad, like random guy, he's a Brad, like his name isn't Brad, he's a Brad, like, hey Brad, how's it going? And like he acts like that the whole time,
dude. And his last words were, "I hope I'm not a dick" or something. It's like come on, man.
I will say, the line, I actually did like the line where he's like, I died an Avenger or whatever. I actually thought that was really funny.
It was very funny. Didn't make any sense, but I laughed because
it was funny, and like,
quite funny.
And then Scott's reaction is actually funny to that too, where he's like, yeah, you are. That was funny. But
he's so confused. He's like, sure.
It's also like MODOK's arc. It's like the idea of the arc,
non-existent, bro.
Like, oh, he's been turned into a monster, and like maybe like I don't have to be a dick. Like, I can help people.
Yeah, it's like, but he's funny now.
I'm MODOK, but I need to be Darren again. Darren was a fucking lunatic. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's totally, if you want to say that between movies, he suddenly developed this conscience, and like being distorted like this, like made him like rethink things. Okay. But arc can't be, I need to find my way back to who I was. That's not what you're doing.
Like, actually, no, I'm already thinking of better ideas of how to accomplish that. Like, because it's a comedy, you have so much leeway to be silly with it. Yeah. Like, show his childhood, but like in a goofy way.
Yeah.
Like a goofy, like, I wasn't always like this. And then like show like a goofy scene from his childhood, right? Man, like, yeah, it truly just comes out of nowhere, that the character arc. Although it is funny when the scene happened, when he was like, I died an Avenger, I was like, someone is like updating the Avengers Wikia right now, being like, Avengers members, MODOK brackets deceased, or like temporarily. Like I'm sure someone fucking did that.
Yeah.
But anyways, man, what a waste.
The
Peter,
other
do
thing,
you have any?
the one thing
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I have a positive thing to say about MODOK, which is that a shot I thought was cool in the movie when MODOK first arrives to get Cassie and Scott. There's a certain thing that like an explosion goes off, and then there's like smoke in the air, and Cassie and Scott are kind of just silhouettes, and they're like, "What's going on?" And then MODOK's lights appear in the background, and I was like, "Oh, that's a fun shot." And it was just like, it was one of the few moments where like there were little moments where there were small details that I liked. Like there was also, this is jumping back, but it's just a really quick point. Like in the fist fight between Kang and Scott in the end, like all of Kang's punches have like the sound of like bricks under them. It's like the sound of like a brick hitting something, like really. And I was like, oh, that's nice, that's cool. Like he feels stronger because of that. But and so like there was that little moment where I was like, that's a fun shot.
Yeah, there's some interesting things too that they like, bringing a character back from the first one that they kind of like use. I wish they had used them more, but like I like that when Darren comes back, he really just wants to kill fucking
Ant-Man.
What's his name? Ant-Man original Hank.
Jose Hope.
Oh, Hank.
No, he's so mad at Hank. Like I thought that was an interesting idea, and he does try to attack him later. But I think more interesting than that was the idea that Cassie might be like afraid of this guy because he had like quote unquote kidnapped her in the first movie, but then like she's not even like remotely afraid of him. Like fairly quickly she's like, oh my god, that's the guy who kidnapped me, and then she's like, yeah, he looks pretty stupid though, and then later like, maybe don't be a dick. Like what? Like he should, what I wrote in my review was that he should have been like the monster under the bed for her. Like that's like a core childhood memory. She should have been like traumatized by that, and seeing him again should have been scary. And guess what? Like then she would have had to overcome something. Sounds like a character arc.
Yeah.
You know? Anyways,
dude, and I like honestly, I'm not a fan of the look. Like the enlarged face thing does not work for me.
No, it's like they're doubling down on the Robert Rodriguez movie, like look, but doing it worse again, because this is like the guy from Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but like that one is funny.
I do have to say, like, there's a certain degree for that complaint where I'm like, that's what he looks like. Like, I don't know how you make a big-headed individual look less stupid than that.
Like,
remember when they did Eitri the Dwarf in Infinity War with Peter Dinklage?
And
I
thought that was fine.
He looks kind of silly though. Like as a huge guy.
Yeah.
No, it's much less bad, but like.
And I'm pretty sure, didn't they do MODOK in the Avengers game? And I thought that looked fine, right?
That's a video game where everyone is like a cartoon, though. You know, it's when you get into live action. Like, I don't know if you can make. I don't know. Maybe you could, but I do think there's a certain point where people are like, "Oh man, MODOK looks so stupid." I'm like, okay,
dude, just keep the mask on. Just keep the mask on.
I feel like you could have been more with it. But yeah.
Anyways, this is the first time where I feel like we don't have a natural next thing to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of my big complaints as well is that like this is a core filmmaking thing where I've mentioned it slightly already, where the editing in this movie is at times like very rough, to the point where like there's actually key pieces of information in scenes that we don't get, or we don't get at the right time, at least because of the editing. Like I mentioned earlier, that there's a scene in the beginning where it rapidly cuts to these three singles, and I get what the point of it was, but it was just kind of weird. There's a point in the scene in which Bill Murray comes in, and for context, Bill Murray is like the quantum lord, whatever.
It does not even matter.
Doesn't
who he is.
Does not matter at all. But like he and Janet used to be together, and they led an uprising against Kang or whatever. It doesn't matter.
They used to yada yada yada.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Seinfeld reference.
But okay, in this scene, it's like, oh, he's like turned bad, and he's like sold his soul since Janet knew him. There's a scene where his like troops march in the door, and that what we see is a shot of them coming through the door and marching up. It's quick enough that we can't really see what they're holding or what they're doing. it cuts back to the conversation. Everyone looks like mildly threatening. They talk for a little bit, and then Bill Murray says, "Whoa, guys, you can put down the guns." And then it cuts back to them, and we see that they were holding guns up.
What?
And
Yeah.
it was like, show us that they're pointing guns at them. Why did you do that? And
That,
like,
yeah.
it just shows them like lowering the guns, and it's like that. Like there was no threat here. I didn't know that they were threatened right now. Like I can tell Bill Murray's being sus, but like show them pointing the guns at them.
That whole scene, I couldn't pick up on the editing, but that sequence, because I don't think they're there and then they cut away and then they come back to them.
That's the wasted scene.
Yeah, like that's 101 like bad screenwriting, because like nothing happens in that scene.
Yeah,
Bill Murray is introduced for no reason. Like he doesn't do anything later in the movie. They don't cut back to him ever. He might be dead. I don't remember that monster comes. I don't know if he dies, but like literally the point of that scene is, one, explain why they can understand the quantum people. They spend like 15 minutes trying to tell you like, this is why they can understand the language. Don't worry about it, guys. We figured it out. We thought about it.
Saw it happen with Scott and Cassie, and they just like do the same.
Do it again. I'm like, I don't care. Just like assume that maybe they speak English. It doesn't matter to me. I've seen
make it like a really quick thing where someone shoves it into their hand and it's like, ugh, and then they speak, and then it's like
every space alien movie ever does not care.
Yeah, right.
Star Wars, Guardians of the Galaxy never spend so much time to explain why they all speak English, because we don't care. So like that's like the main thing for the scene, and the second main thing is so that they get a ship.
Yeah,
that's it. They need a spaceship to get around, so they can spend 45 minutes of the movie in the ship. Yeah. Man, just bring like a shrunken Quinjet, like Peter said. Yeah. Like just have something on you, like the tank from the first movie. This is the third of the trilogy. Do callbacks.
Yeah, it should be evolving, right? Not going backwards.
Oh my god. And like it's just so that they can have this stupid joke where Michael Douglas is like, I don't want to put my hands in this jelly. I will say, for that point though, there's a line later in the movie that I thought was hilarious. And this is good setup and payoff. So he's like, I don't want to put my hands in the thing. And I'm like, this is dumb. But later he's like, I'll drive. And I thought that was so funny. Where it was kind of like resigned, like, oh, I guess I'll drive. Yeah. I'm the only guy who puts the hands in the thing.
Yeah. That's funny.
That's my thoughts on the bar scene.
My also thought is that Bill Murray is fucking awful in this scene.
Agreed.
It is atrocious acting. I was like, I cannot believe what I'm seeing. Why is he here? Like, what is going on? Like, I was sitting there like gobsmacked. I was like, I can't believe that there's this bad of acting.
I honestly think that like Peyton Reed has like a list of actors he wants to work with, and is just like going down the list of like 80s huge actors that he can waste in his movie. Because Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, Lawrence Fishburne was in the last. Bill Murray, what is he doing with these guys? How much are they paying them to do nothing?
Yeah,
it's insane to me how little these characters matter. Lawrence Fishburne is almost worse than Bill Murray in this movie. Like Lawrence Fishburne in the last one, there's a couple of scenes where he's like they've got like their dog-sized ants to like make him not do anything. A guy who doesn't pose any threat at all, by the way. And he just has to like stand there with his hands up and go like, whoa, there's some ants around me right now. Because clearly he's like acting against nothing. And his reactions are so funny because like he's literally just standing there like, whoa, there's some ants right now.
Oh, ant time. I didn't realize it was ant time.
Go back and watch those. It's so funny. Okay. There's some other things we can talk about. So this movie, I feel, is embarrassed to be an Ant-Man movie, which is like to be embarrassed by what you are is like the worst thing that can happen to a movie. And Marvel has been doing this for a while, where their comedy is always like, "Oh, is that so dumb?"
Yeah, it's like, look, guys, we know we're being goofy. Guys, look how dumb this is. Guys, look how goofy it is. Yeah.
Like I'm thinking like the Doctor Octopus joke in Spider-Man. Like, your name is Doc Ock or Octavius. you arms. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. We get it. Don't. Anyways, so for the Ant-Man movie though, this is the worst case of it because we've established what an Ant-Man movie should be twice.
Yeah.
We have 2 examples of what Ant-Man is. And then they decide to strip every single thing that was pleasurable about those movies to make like nothing.
Yeah.
So the ensemble cast, one of the highlights of those movies.
Yeah.
Specifically Michael Pena as Luis, but also David Desmalchian.
Right, yeah. Dude, I saw his name in the credits of this movie, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
He's the guy with the holes. He's the holes guy.
Oh, is he? Oh,
he voices him. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So those 2 guys, T.I., I could take or leave, but like you know, like those 2 guys, big part of it. Jimmy Woo was really fun, and he makes like a super brief appearance. Cassie's parents aren't in this movie, and they're so fun.
Yeah, like,
oh man. So like that's a whole thing. Bobby Cannavale, I think is his name. I only know that because of Blonde.
Yeah.
But the shrinking thing, like recontextualizing small objects as really big objects, that's a huge part of the Ant-Man franchise. None of that in this movie, except the cop car, I guess. There's no height.
Oh, we do see it, but it's like
see the cop car.
We don't see it happen. It's just she has the thing.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a joke either. Like it was like, okay, sure. Heists are usually like a pretty big thing. I guess they don't really do it in the second one, but if they had done like an actual heist, that's kind of like what I feel like that's what the Ant-Man movies just should have been. Like the Ocean's 11 movies
of MCU. Yeah.
Like that's all you can do. It's like, what do you do with shrinking powers? You sneak into places. Like, I don't know if there's much more than that. And then like the last thing I have is that the smaller stakes. Like that's what the Ant-Man movies are good at that. Mm-hmm. It's fun to be like, okay, now here's a break from the super high stress, like important stuff, the MCU. This is like the palate cleanser. It was good at being that. And it also like when it does that, but also like treats itself seriously, like the stakes are real for the characters, even if they're not that big for the wider universe.
The conflict challenges the characters in a new way.
Yeah, like all of those things were what made the Ant-Man franchise enjoyable. And then they're just like, fuck all that. I guess we want to do something completely different.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my rant. Do you guys have
thoughts? I agree with you. I don't really have much to add to that, but I think you're right. Yeah.
Same here.
I also saw someone say that like this movie is Peyton Reed has wanted to do a Fantastic Four movie for like 20 years. And this is someone said on Twitter that this is obviously him just being like, fuck it, I'll make my Ant-Man movie, the Fantastic Four movie. So think about it.
But it's shit.
It is shit. But like think about it. Like the Fantastic Four have this place called the Negative Zone, and like that's a big thing for them.
Yeah.
This is this might as well be the Negative Zone because the fact that it's quantum and small has no impact on the plot. Also, the Negative Zone would be for the Fantastic Four, like their powers don't change, and their powers
that's what happened here. Yeah.
In another universe, whereas Ant-Man is one of the few characters where putting him in a different location actively hampers like his power set and makes it less interesting. I guess the only other one would be like Spider-Man would be really shitty in the quantum realm, for example. But and then the other thing is like Kang is clearly a Fantastic Four villain because he is a great descendant of Reed Richards. Reed Richards. He's like their relative, and he's like a science guy, and Reed Richards is a science guy. Yeah. This should have just been Fantastic Four. It's ridiculous, but Anyways, what do you guys want to talk about? Is there anything you guys haven't discussed yet?
I pretty much have my my thoughts summed up on this movie. It's a bad one.
It is a terrible one. I will say that like using one of the Rick and Morty writers is so fucking obvious in this movie too. Like the replacement ensemble cast are like Rick and Morty stock characters, like the I Have Holes guy and the telepath.
Yeah.
Like they're all I could picture this movie in the Rick and Morty style animation. Like MODOK especially, and like the Council of Kangs, the whole Ant-Man probability, like that's all super Rick and Morty, which is weird. And then also this movie is very like liberal, but also in a way that I don't like really believe it. So remember the stuff where like Cashie's like, you need to like fight the cops. You should be stopping the police. And I was like, what? like I'm all for that conceptually, but like the idea of Ant-Man fighting the police is absurd. It's not what would happen. And then there's like other things like Michael Douglas says in the movie.
Socialism?
Yeah, he says socialism is a charged word these days. But like the ants are doing it. I'm like, what is this?
Weird. Like, that's such a weird place to put that.
Anyway, and it's all over the movie. And I don't know like if it's I don't know, like maybe
I feel like it's the writer like trying to be like, haha, look at me.
but
like it's just like, okay, man, this is an Ant-Man movie. This is a Disney movie, brother. Like,
yeah, I feel like it's like Marvel has always been accused of being like military propaganda. So like, I almost feel like they're trying to be like, guys, we get it, we're cool too. We can be like, you're Gen Z, like we're so leftist. Like, I don't believe you though.
Yeah,
I don't believe you at all.
Yeah.
Anyways, what do you guys think? Worst Marvel movie ever?
I think so. Yeah, I don't like. I'm trying to think of like the other shitters, and it's like Iron Man 2.
I like Iron Man 2 a little bit.
Yeah, Iron Man 2 is better than this for sure. Thor 2, but Thor 2 is like a plot that like set up and pay off. Yup, boom, yup. You know what I mean? Like
it's
a
one done.
It's like
one done.
It's surprisingly watchable though.
Yeah,
like, you go back to like this is fun, even though it means nothing.
Yeah. This is definitely. I hate Thor 4, but this is better. This is worse than Thor 4. Yeah.
I have Thor 4 as my second worst because I do think this is worse.
I think
somehow, by God, Marvel made the worst two movies
back to back
in the span of a year. Not quite back.
Not back to back. Yeah.
But like worse than all the Thor movies.
Yeah.
Somehow you did it, Marvel. you've topped yourself. Peter, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm trying to find your MCU ranked list right now.
Why mine? Why are you looking for mine? I have mine in front of me.
Well, it's like, why do you have? Oh, you have different posters now because you're Patreon. Okay.
Yeah. I'm a patron on Letterboxd. Follow me, guys. What is it? _ Alex Gordon _
Dude, you get your time to promote at the end.
Okay. Posters now.
Yeah, I see it. Like, I really hated Black Widow. Black Widow was better than this. I have not seen the Hulk, but I guess Hulk.
I don't even remember, but I just remember like vaguely. Incredible Hulk is not very good at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think.
Yeah. Agreed.
I'm still working on the rewatch, but anyways, let's move on. Peter, we have a segment.
We do have a segment. And I think it's Aidan's job to introduce that segment.
Aidan, we have a segment. I messed up.
I don't know if you guys have noticed.
You may have forgotten. Guys, we're back. We're back.
We're back. The podcast is called Predator versus Movies. We've done the movie part. Now it's time to get into the Predator part. This is the segment where we ask the question, would the Predator from the movie Predator improve this movie?
Thank you.
Sure. That'd be sick.
Yeah,
that's my
absolutely.
Yo, awesome. Predator versus Kang? Anyone?
If Kang had like an ounce of Predator in him and like,
that too.
Like, not looking like being that level of scary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, if Predator wanted to like hunt in the quantum realm or something, like give me something. Yeah, absolutely.
He should have been like, I'm thinking like Empire Strikes Back, like when Darth Vader hires all the bounty hunters. Like he should have been like in the lineup with MODOK.
Yeah.
You can have them like compete against each other.
Yeah.
Like MODOK's like.
We're returning to our roots here with this one, where in the beginning of the plot it was always if the movie's bad, then Predator would improve it. If the movie's good, Predator would not. And we're
facts.
The movie's bad, so Predator would improve it.
Yeah, that's pretty well. Well, because I think the idea is like if the movie's bad, like it needs something to make it worthwhile, and throwing in something completely random makes it worthwhile. You know. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement here. I don't know. What else could he do? If he got them into the quantum realm, because like something else we didn't mention, but like the way they get into the quantum realm is kind of
so gimmicky.
Yeah, like I was making a telescope, a quantum telescope, and then we're gonna get we're shrunken down. What are you talking about? Doesn't make any sense. They probably should have just done like Cassie's shrinking in her suit, and then she shrinks herself too small because she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing, and then they have to go follow her.
I thought you could access the quantum realm at any point in space. Like I don't know.
Well, you either use the quantum tunnel or you turn off the regulator. You have two options to get there that are previously established.
Yeah, I know.
Why did they come up with a new one? Like, just have Cassie be the reckless hero. That's clearly what her arc is. Anyways, we're done with the movie. We're done. Peter, we have a segment.
We do.
Now it's your turn.
Predators picks. What have you guys watched in the past, I don't know, a month?
It's been a while.
Yeah. Aidan, you can start.
I haven't watched too much stuff. I watched the movie Cocaine Bear, directed by the
show chaotic
Queen of Chaos herself, Elizabeth Banks. And I would actually say one of my biggest complaints of the movie, not chaotic enough. It was not like I think my Letterboxd review was something like not enough bear, not enough cocaine bear. Bear should have had superpowers, and like that's my honest opinion. Like I genuinely believe the bear should have been like impervious to guns or something like that. Like they should have made it like unnaturally, like they should have really ran with it. Whereas like they should have had to keep finding new ways to try to deal with the cocaine bear, and they're not working. So it's like they try shooting it, it can't die from bullets. Like bullets aren't working because it's just running on cocaine. So it's like maybe you have to try this, and then like you know what I mean. Like and it escalates. The movie doesn't really escalate. It's just like stuff happening. Bears. There's so many times where it's like, oh, I want the cocaine bear to do this thing, and it doesn't. Like there's
so what you're looking for is Jaws, but a cocaine bear.
Is literally what it was marketed as.
Yeah.
So
really?
Yes.
Oh my god! I thought it's supposed to be a comedy, man. Jaws wasn't a comedy.
No, but
yeah, it's a comic version of it.
I think you literally the only switch you need to do is to show him. Like Jaws refrains from showing the shark. You should show Cocaine Bear like all day, like
every day. Yeah,
like, constantly there, and like like there was one scene where Cocaine Bear is like up a tree. And I was like, he's gonna jump to the other tree and like knock it down, and then he just does it. And I was like, oh.
Okay. He goes down and then climbs up the other tree.
Yeah,
which is like the boring way to do it.
Yeah. No, I was pretty let down by it. I've seen a lot of people complain about the characters. Like, yeah, the characters aren't good, but I don't care. I don't need them to be good. Like, I really don't care what the characters are, as long as there's just a reason why they're interacting with the cocaine bear. Like, and yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just.
I had some gripes with characters because I also saw it. I do think if they had just pick one of the characters to be the anchor, because there isn't.
Yeah.
It's not clear who the lead is because it's like an ensemble movie. But like no one is interesting, and they're all like dealing with. There's so much of their like side plots, like it's too important for a movie where I just literally want to see them get murdered by a cocaine bear, and they can't stop talking about like the most boring stuff. that is, and like boring and unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like there's this one guy who's like he's mourning the loss of his wife, and they just fucking talking and talking
Yeah.
and talking and talking.
No,
And
honestly,
like playing 20 questions. That scene was so bad.
yeah, dude. I'm gonna reference a strange movie, but in Venom 2, there's there's a scene in which like Carnage is like ranting to Venom at the end, where it's like, "We're together. Like you're just like me. You'll never defeat me." And then Venom's like, "Shut the fuck up," and bites his head off. And that's like it's a great moment in that movie. The whole Cocaine Bear should have been that the entire time, where it's like
Yeah.
it's like characters just like die brutally, and Cocaine Bear's just like ah, and then they all die.
The best scene in the movie is the ambulance scene, and it was released as a clip on Twitter like a week before the movie. So I
Yeah.
had seen it, and I was like, "Oh, that was like the highlight." There's like nothing else in the movie. It really is just like nothing
Yeah,
for something that's an hour and a half. There's a lot of time wasted.
yeah.
Anyways, what else have you seen?
Other pick, I've been watching The Last of Us. I really like it.
Bro,
Been going really well.
let's talk about The Last of Us, man.
Final episode
Okay.
tonight.
Spoilers, because like I have not seen.
Yeah, bro. I'm just gonna say, bro, Ellie, my god.
What?
What?
She went berserk, bro.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about?
Oh yeah. Well, I've like seen the game. I knew this was
Okay, I think
like-
genuinely episode 8 might have been my favorite
it
so
was a
far.
really good one.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
No, yeah, I think there's some really, really good writing in the show. Like, I really like the scene where, like, I like how you kind of realize, like, oh, he's with the guys from the university. You realize that like right before he says it, and you're like,
no, I have no idea what you're
it's
talking
it's a pretty sick, really. Like, I really like a lot of the
And
writing.
I love how like the relationship is switched up, right? Like Ellie's always been the one being protected, and now she has to be the protector, and how
Careful.
like she just has to like
Spoilers.
mature up so quickly and like face doubts, face fears,
And
like in such a short span of time.
I
thought it was
really
pretty
like
cool.
in the most recent episode, like the way Joel saves her is
Yeah, but in a different way.
in a different way.
Yeah.
I won't get more specific than that.
Yeah.
But like
I like you choosing your words carefully.
yeah. No, that show's been really good. I've really liked it. I love that you can tell they're actually out in the wilderness. It's so clear that they are like in the winter. Like,
dude, they filmed it in Calgary Alberta somewhere.
The episode in the mall, I was like, man, I've been to a mall that looks like that. It's in Calgary. And then I looked it up, and it is in fact the mall I've been to in Calgary. I was like, oh.
That's wild,
But
dude.
yeah.
And I just thought like also, like I love how these are just like these encounters like that you witness in the episode, they immerse you into the world. It's like I can see this happening in a post-apocalyptic world. Like yes, it is messed up, but I can see this happening, and even though I don't agree with it, but like I understand it's necessary for them to do that to survive. You know, I'm referring to like the food.
Yeah. Like yeah, for sure. I think like that's. Even if I hadn't played the game, I think I would have been like, okay, that's what this is. Like, just because of like, it's a somewhat common like zombie apocalypse or just apocalypse in general thing to happen. But I really like the way they did it regardless. Yeah, I'm excited for this episode.
Yeah, very hyped for tonight.
What happens, and I'm excited.
Okay. We'll talk about it. And also, just the last point I want to bring up. I love how in the latest episode they framed it in such a way that you're rooting for the little girl at the beginning, but then you realize who her dad is. Then you're like, oh shit, you know? So you had that moment. Yeah. Love that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I feel
brilliant.
Like these big spoilers while I'm watching an episode, I'm gonna be like, okay, well now I know what happens because I'm getting the context. Whatever. Anyways, one other thing, Aidan.
Well, I guess really quick, there's a movie. I don't think I brought this up. I watched it a while ago, but right. Because of hiatus, I don't think I brought it up. I watched the experimental Canadian horror film Skinamarink.
It's Canadian?
What?
I didn't even know that.
Canadian,
it's Canadian.
Yeah. Loved it. I really, really loved it. This is not going to be a movie for everyone. It's very, very slow. You like don't see much, but it's intentional. I really, really like it. It taps into like really, really specific fears. It does a really good job of like deconstructing the family home, and it's like, when does the home become like a place of horror instead of comfort as a child? Like it's like really tapping into like just like when I was a kid, one of my biggest fears was going to the second floor of my house by myself when the lights were off, and it's like tapping into that really well, like what makes something home. But yeah, no, I really liked it. Last thing I'll recommend is that UK rap artist or music artist Slow Tie recently dropped an album. No, it's really, really good. It's like kind of like 70s punk kind of inspired, like British punk. And
Okay, that's
no,
interesting.
it's really good album. Really enjoyed it. I think honestly, of his 3 albums, it's probably my least favorite right now, but he has a really, really solid discography. So yeah, I'd check that out if you're interested in that kind of music.
Cool. Peter, what have you been watching, listening, whatever?
Yeah, so I watched Creed 3 yesterday. I think we might do a pod on it, so I won't go into it. But dude, the timer says we've been going for 3 hours. Is this
3 minutes.
accurate?
No, what the fuck? What happened?
Yeah, wait, is it
We're
just
not going
me?
for 3 hours? I see it too.
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
Okay,
You're right.
anyways,
That's a glitch. I think it's the time zone thing.
okay.
That's
I watched
cool.
Sorry to Bother You,
Yeah.
which was sort of talking about that because the creator is doing a show. To be honest, Sorry to Bother You is just such a bonkers experience. Just like you don't anticipate. It's like one of these things where third act they just out of nowhere they're like horse people, you know. But I thought like I like the movie, but I just thought like they could do more. You know, like there are a lot of things that they sort of scratch on the surface. Where you know, like our main character had to change his voice to blend in to even like do good in the job. What is like what sort of decision do you have to make to reconcile with a yourself and b your identity and ethnicity for the career and the dream you're pursuing? Like, do you like when these two are not aligned, which is in the case of the movie? How do you reconcile with yourself about like your future? You know,
I
where
I thought the movie did a really good job of that. What the movie posits as the solution is that like working, like throwing yourself and like putting all your value into like labor for this like corporation that clearly doesn't care is the wrong thing to do, and it's going
yeah.
to lead to like exploitation and soullessness. And it's positing that like unionization and like collective organization is the way to go.
Well, I was more referring to like how our main character had to change his voice and like at the party like and like we sort of seeing this like slowly losing his identity as like a black person in the US, and how at the end when he's asked to do a freestyle, which is sort of a very racist thing to do, he all he could come up with is just like saying the n-word and like swearing, you know, which is I guess like the director's point about that. It's like what rap is conceived as, like, you know, like as from like a non-black or like from a white person's perspective, which I
Yeah,
thought it was.
it's also like it's like just the most surface level, like just packaging up that experience and just like salivating
Yeah,
over.
reducing it to
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the. Yeah, absolutely. But I thought like, you know, like it explored some interesting themes. Did not expect Army Hammer to show up.
Yeah,
uh
dude,
um
that's a movie. I refer to that movie as The Prophecy because that's like the
Oh
joke is
yeah,
that
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Army Hammer went full method, like he just
yeah.
became that guy.
Yeah.
It's great
But
casting. Maybe they just knew. They
Yeah.
were like, yeah,
but I
he's
just
that
thought
guy.
like the movie did not hit hard enough. Like I would almost be happier if the movie ended up on like a sad note instead of like horse people revolt. We're happy now. We're back to the basement. We're back to the garage. Because like it is like corporate exploitation is very much like a real thing in the world,
Was it
and
in a
like
comedy though?
I think
yeah, sort of.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember liking the ending. But
The I just thought like it would be a little more impactful if it's like ended up on a sad note.
Sure.
But totally get what the ending is about, like how, him going back to himself, going back to his old life, which he felt he belonged to and he's happier in, which is, good. So, oh,
What
and he
else?
turned to a horse in the end. It was sort of funny.
What else?
Oh, what else? I also watched Creed 3, but we already talked about that.
You're going in
Mando,
circles.
Mando. I've been watching The
Mando.
Mandalorian season 3.
Mando.
I really love how Disney is just like season 1. It's like, oh, this show is gonna carry Disney Plus, and it absolutely did. And so like they marketed it as this big thing, and then season 2 is sort of dialed it down a bit, but it's still very much like, yo, Baby Yoda's back, what? And then season 3 is just like, yo, do you know Mando's coming out? Like they just did like minimum social media like campaign.
Yeah, it
Also,
isn't out
it's
until like a week after.
yeah, it's also just like bad. Like the first 2 episodes have just not been good.
Like I think, to be honest, like we're not as invested into his quest anymore. Like in the first season, it's like, yo, we gotta protect this kid. He has to upgrade his armor. We sort of see this sort of like progression of him turning from just a bounty hunter into more of like a guardian figure, which is really cool. And then second season sort of expanded onto that, which is and got the Empire more involved in. But there are also like still bright spots where there's Timothy Olyphant's sheriff, and their encounter with like the sand dragon, which I thought was really cool.
It's a great episode, yeah.
But like I think like episodes right now, they're just not as self-contained anymore. It feels like the episodes, they're trying to build onto this overarching seasonal plot that I'm not as invested in. It's like, we get to see Mandalore, cool. It's just like wasteland and a bunch of weird creatures.
That's a set design problem. That's
right.
But
like,
that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying like weeks ago, which was that like this show is running into the problem where it's trying to be a serialized show, and it functions so well as an episodic show.
Absolutely.
Every episode is its
Mhm.
own story, and we're kind of just exploring around. I was
Yeah.
really afraid that that's what the third season was going to be.
Yeah, and also it's just like and I find it really awkward. It's like the character of Bo-Katan. Just a little bit of spoiler here. At first she's like, "Yo, I want the Darksaber. I want to lead the Mandalorians because that's my birthright. I was a princess." And then Pedro Pascal was like, "Oh, nope. Can't have it." And then this season, in the first episode, he approached her, like, "Yo, I want to go to Mandalore because I kind of have to now." And she's like, "Nope." And then second episode, she flies to Mandalore. It's like, what the fuck, man? Like, I understand you're trying to help like a Mandalorian in need, but it's like, oh, that's really quick change of heart. And also, my God, Baby Yoda's moves, like I get like how Yoda was like very agile in the movies, but like they look bad. He just did a backflip and just it looks like a doll like doing like fucking flips in the air instead of like a real like Yoda creature, doing flips in the air.
I like seeing the puppet jump around and stuff. I think it's fun.
You do? Yeah.
I'm with Peter. Have you guys seen Tropic Thunder?
Yeah.
No.
So there's this scene where at the end where what's his name? Ben Stiller's character has like adopted a child from like this. Where are they? They're not in Vietnam, are they? They're in like,
I don't remember,
the neighboring. Anyways, doesn't matter. Wherever they are, he's adopted a child from there, and he's like trying to escape with the child, and or no, maybe he's like going back for the child. I don't remember. And then he comes back. And he's like, "Guys, start the ship! And the kid is like stabbing him in the neck.
Wait, what?
This like 6-year-old, and then he like throws the kid, like yeets him, and he like spins like a doll. So that's what I think of whenever Baby Yoda is like jumping around. Is this kid getting thrown off a bridge?
And then the last point I would say about the show, it's I really like how in the first and second season we actually see exotic creatures. You know what I mean? Like creatures that fit the Star Wars lore, but also are like either like really like for example the sand dragon, or like the thing that grabbed the Razor Crest in episode 1 from beneath the ice. Like these are the type of creatures I want to see, not like some fucking weird like I don't even know, like these indigenous scavengers of Mandalore, like dressed in super weird costumes with long teeth. Like sure, it fits the lore, but it's like that's not what I want to see, man. Like I want to see the mythosaur, which we saw in episode 2, and like I want to see these big mysterious creatures that we don't get to explore in Star Wars, like main Star Wars movies. Not like mundane, like small, like humanoid looking things, you know.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't really have thoughts on the trolls. That was kind of like whatever. But I think for me, like, I'm never gonna get over the fact that
And what happened?
I don't know what you're saying. The fact that the previous season had such a great cliffhanger for the characters. Like, okay, you've like first season he has to learn to be a dad. Second season he's working through that, but it teases that the third season is going to be he has to spend some time away from him because that's what's best for Grogu, and that would have been really challenging for Mando, and like for him to like spend some time away from Grogu and like I don't know, have them do separate journeys. But like obviously like the corporate cash grabbers are like
Baby
you can't
Yoda
do
make
Mando
money
without Baby Yoda because you got to do the merchandise. So they like force him back in with no explanation, and like so now it's just repeats. Like I've seen all of these beats before, and it's just so that's a thing I hate. And also like the first episode of this season is terrible.
So boring.
Like nothing like what we were saying about episodic versus serial, like this is clearly like the start of a serialized season because I could not tell you what the thing of the episode was. It wasn't an episode of the week. Like it was I'm setting up all the future points and some of the things made no sense. So like spoilers, but like he's like I need a robot to guide me on Mandalore. I like one robot. Let's revive IG-88. And then he tries and it doesn't work and he's like
I was so hyped. I thought he's coming back. I was so hyped about that.
Like, he's like, oh, that didn't work. I'll scrap that idea. I just do a random droid from Peli, whatever. Man,
dude, and the droid didn't do shit.
I hate that character. Yes, also true. Like,
it's like, oh, it's breathable.
Anyways, all of these things are so stupid, like pointless. Man, I really don't like this show. So it's not even. I think the idea that like, oh, Andor came out and then now you think this is worse. Like it's not just that. Mando
the
has
show
also just
is objectively,
worse.
yeah.
With the first seasons of Mando, I've always maintained not as good as Andor. Still really good. I really like
season. It is good. Mando season 1 is great.
Yeah.
Because I think like Mando and Andor tackle different things, right? Like Andor is much more like much more dark, like it's darker. It's
espionage.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like you're taking on the Empire. Like there's like the stake in Andor, I feel like is much higher. But Mando is much like an adventure show. It's like today I'm over here. I'm solving these type of issues.
It's more like Star Trek or like Flash Gordon. I think. Like I think that's what it's inspired by too. Just those kind of serialized things.
Quick side note, like I saw on Twitter Luthen's like monologue in that one episode of Andor when he's like, "What have I sacrificed?" And I was just like, "Oh my god, that was so good."
Yo, Skater Skarsgård, man.
Jon Favreau could never.
Oh my, that's insane. Yeah, like the tweet where it was like that was the same episode where also Andy Serkis's monologue where it's like. Where they're breaking out of the prison, like oh my god, yeah.
Like and like some of the writing in the first 2 episodes of Mando has been like atrocious. Like it's literally just like talking the plot, which is the worst.
Yeah,
they just like they need to explain so much, and I hate it. Anyways, do you have any other things for us, Peter?
No. Oh, actually, one thing. I started playing the Guardians of Galaxy game recently.
Oh, really?
And it's actually really good. Like they take a new spin on like the characters they were so familiar with in the movies, and it's fresh. Like characters still keep their souls, obviously, and it's like a game where like I'm immersed enough. I would literally just like sit on the ship and listen to crew members talk because it's so funny. I love it. I think it's great. Have you played it, Alex?
Yeah, I said I finished it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was a good game. Okay, my turn. My turn.
Your turn.
Peter's just confused.
Oh,
does not know what I'm doing. I saw a lot of movies in the past month, and I will breeze through them. I saw. First, let's do Oh no, first was the Magic Mike franchise, so I watched all of those. Magic Mike 1, pretty good. Wish it was better, but in retrospect, my favorite. Magic Mike 2, very different, like much funnier. Like they like completely different tonally. Every Magic Mike movie could not be more different. So the first one is like in the wake of like the recession or the stock market crash, like middle lower class Americans like trying to get by selling their like bodies, not like prostitution, but like through stripping.
Yeah.
Like so like that's like a cool idea, and it gets a little cliche, but like that was a good idea. The second one is a buddy road trip movie where all of the stripper bros from the first movie are going to a convention. Like I could not tell you how that is from the same thing. But the third one, he goes to London. So he's no longer in Florida, which is where they're clearly supposed to be set. He goes to London and he's putting on a stage show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What? And he's like this rich, like these movies are also very much about like money. And then in the third one, like a rich Salma Hayek like funds the whole thing and money isn't an issue at all. Ridiculous. So Magic Mike 1, pretty good, and then they just get worse and worse. Magic Mike 2 isn't that bad actually. 3 is terrible.
You were really excited about 3, right?
I was, because it looked so fun. And then oh man, I've not had a case of like this is terrible editing in theaters like in a while. And oh man, there's like actually no, it's mostly music choice actually. So there's a couple of montages that are like set to music, and the music could not have been chosen like worse. It's they're not entertaining like hype music. It's all like a little bit under tempo, and I'm like, okay, we're like getting the team together, and it's like, and I'm like, where's the hype to this? I'm like, it's like lo-fi beats or whatever. I don't know, but also they take out like all the diegetic sounds, so it's just like I'm listening to music in headphones, which is really bizarre.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was bad. I watched Titanic for the first time in theaters. That was pretty good. I also now see how we got Avatar, because like,
oh wow,
like if you think like Avatar like has weird writing and weird characters, all of those things are kind of there in Titanic, but like and water and ship sinking. Like the second Avatar movie, he does it again. But like, yeah, it's pretty good. I get it. There's some pretty cool things he does, and it works. And then most recently, I've been watching the Rocky franchise for the first time in preparation to watch Creed 3. Still not ready, but I have now seen Creed. I started with Creed. That movie is fantastic. That is a phenomenal movie.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, could not recommend that one highly enough. And then I watched Rocky 1 through 4. Each one is worse than the last pretty well. Like Rocky 1 is like this character drama that was slower than I expected and a lot less boxing. But I think retrospectively, like seeing the worst ones, I'm like, oh, that was pretty good, wasn't it? We had it good. We didn't know how good I had it until I saw Rocky 4. Yeah. Rocky 2 is like a pretty good sequel, but gets a little cliche. Rocky 3 is really like self-parody at that point already. It has Mr. T in it and Hulk Hogan, which is funny. And then Rocky 4, which I've heard is like pretty good, is not good. It's just montages and like it's a tight 90 because there's like nothing happens and there's no character development. Like spoiler alert, Apollo Creed, who has been in the franchise since the first movie. He's in every movie. He's one of my favorite characters. He dies. He's killed in that movie in Rocky 4. And then the characters after the funeral just like don't talk about him and like don't care. The final like Rocky has a speech at the end, does not mention Apollo Creed. He has to fight the guy who killed Apollo Creed, does not mention the death during the match.
Damn.
It's ridiculous. Anyways, apparently there's a director's cut, so I need to watch that because it came out in 2021 actually.
Oh.
And I've heard it's pretty good and it fixes all those problems, so I'm gonna check that out. So
wait, is Rocky the longest running movie franchise with like 5 movies?
No, it has. If you include the Creed movies, it has 9.
7, right? Oh, really?
It goes
9?
Rocky 1 through 6, and then Creed 1 through 3.
Yeah. Is it the longest one? Like
I don't know. It could be. Well, like Star Wars has 9,
and the MCU.
And MCU, so like not the
like 32 or whatever.
But although I will say, Rocky did start 1 year prior to Star Wars. If you're talking about like in our world,
how
long it's been.
Running one, yeah.
Yeah, because that was 1976. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna watch Rocky 5 because I hear it's terrible. But I will watch Rocky Balboa. So excited to watch Creed 2 and Creed 3. That is all my picks. So next week we might do. It's a toss up between two. I don't know. I'm talking like this. It's a toss up between two franchisee movies. So we got Creed. We got in one corner. We got Creed 3, and in the other corner we had Scream 6.
One might say we have 3 and 6 Cream.
That's absolutely correct. And I guess they're both from the like tri-state area. Like one of them is in New York. And the other one is in probably Philadelphia, but I could not tell you for sure. Maybe that's where
Creed is in LA actually. Creed 3 is in LA.
Know. What?
Creed 3 is set in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
There you go.
Anyways, if you like our stuff, go check us out on Instagram or Twitter at Predator V Movies. If you like my opinions, go check me out on Letterboxd at _Alex Gordon _ I leave reviews. That's Australian.
Dude, I really like the way you say Twitter.
Yeah. Twitter.
Oh my god. No, that's not how you said it.
How did I say it?
Okay, so my letterbox is 810 Sunny. That's 810 SONNY. My name is Wombo. I also leave reviews sometimes.
His name is Wombo. His username is SONNY. 810. Hey, no, fuck, I messed it up. Go check us out on Twitter. Is that it?
Yeah. That's
it.
it.
Twitter. Okay, Peter, do you have anything? Peter, do you have anything to plug?
No, I'm good.
Okay, well, in that case, leave a fucking review, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like, leave a review. Like, what's up?
In that case specifically, leave a review. If Peter has nothing to plug, leave a review. Which is every week.
That's the deal with the audience. If Peter hasn't plugged anything, then you guys have to leave a review.
Where can they leave a review?
They can leave a review anywhere they fucking listen to us, dude.
Anywhere. And we will appreciate you greatly. Until next time, we've been at Predator vs. Movies. I've messed this up already. I'm Alex.
I'm Peter.
I'm Aidan.
And this was Predator vs. Movies. We'll work on it.
We're back.
We're back.